Hi, Bibs. Hello. Hi. How are you guys? Hi, Yo-Yo. Hello. How are you guys doing? I'm very upsetty spaghetti. I was like,
I feel
whoa. Sorry. I accidentally I accidentally played someone's stream. Yeah, how are you guys doing? I'm just like setting up right now. I hate that we can't have waiting rooms on AniLive. Maybe I could suggest that. Maybe I could be like, "Hey, can you just let us set up like waiting rooms just so we could set up a stream without having to like I don't know, cuz I got some issues. I got some issues. You know what I think is like really annoying when people hi Nal when people have like 30-minute like waiting rooms and I'm like I get it, but I also kind of hate that I have to skip ahead so much just to wait till the start of the stream VOD. I don't like that. I don't like that so much. Um hang on. I should have like set this up before. I did, but then I lost the page. Okay. So, today I will sure, okay. Today I will be bitching. I was going to do this drunk and then I was like, like maybe not today. I am planning a drinking stream soon. But not today. Not today, Satan. That's why I didn't join in on Leo Bell's yeah, you could just play. Oh, yeah, that would be fun. I wish I could like leave like a note like on screen, just be like waiting room because I'm busy. I'm in the toilet, or something like that. Yeah. So hang on. Okay. So basically, I want to be bitching. I want to be bitching today about stuff, right? And I just have like a very strong need to complain, and it's going to be about the Disney films because I've been. So you guys, I don't know if you guys know about the Acolyte, which is like the most recent Star Wars series, live action series, and there was just some stuff in there that really got me peeved, really grinded my gears, churned my butter, verbed my noun, and I was just like, I'm gonna bitch. So, I don't know if I'm going to tackle just like the movies or if I'm also going to tackle some series, but it's like I think it's relevant for the landscape of today, mainly because the stuff that happens in modern day Disney TV shows, especially with Star Wars, it kind of also reflects the stuff that's been happening in modern day Disney movies, especially the live action, dude. It's like because it's already bad enough that it's like seeping into the animated stuff, but like all the live actions got like the DEI stuff going on, and I'm like, listen, I'm a feminist, I'm a woman, I'm queer, I'm a person of color. I love all that representation, but when it's forced diversity, I kind of don't like it because it feels less organic. It just feels like you're just trying to pander to a certain audience to get minority money, and I don't like that. I really hate that. I haven't watched the recent stuff. That's okay. You don't need to. It's all pretty much the same garbage, anyways. But like, I think, hi Cedric. I think it's pretty crazy that in the Acolyte they somehow managed to make lesbian space like space witches, they somehow made them boring, and I'm like, how did you manage to do that, like lesbian space witches in Star Wars, and you made them boring? That's crazy to me. Was Incredibles 2. Bro, I don't know how to tell you this. That's not I mean, technically it's under Disney, but it is Pixar, so I don't really consider it a Disney film, really. It's Disney Pixar, so it's kind of its own thing. But that's how you know Disney's kind of bad. It's like, okay, so Marvel and Star Wars are also under the Disney umbrella, but I wouldn't consider them Disney films. It's just like there's like a whole it's a whole category in and of itself, right? So let's start with the elephant in the room, right? Do people hate forced diversity? Yes. And I think it's really scummy when people that are into like the diversity, they're just saying stuff like, oh, like you don't like this because you're racist, because you hate women, because you hate gay people. I'm just like, no, actually, none of that. It's because you're bad at writing stories because you only care about those things. And it's like, if anything, you're the one that's being kind of bigoted by saying that that's the only thing you have going for you, right? Like for example, yes, yeah, I know, Cedric. Okay, so for example, something like the 100-year anniversary of Disney, they made the movie Wish, and I remember seeing this post one time on Instagram saying how much this person really loved Asha, the main character of Wish. And I was just like, "Oh girl, like I love that you have like, black girl diversity representation and all that, but you guys really deserve better than this. You don't have to settle for this shitty of a character. Like like as a Southeast Asian, do you think I'm settling for like the main character in Raya and the Last Dragon? No, because they didn't give a shit about us when they made that movie. You know how scummy it is knowing that they made Mulan twice and they were like, "Oh, let's appeal to China many times with Mulan 2, the live action adaptation of Mulan, and then also Turning Red." But like when it comes to Raya and the Last Dragon, they didn't even have the balls to decide on a country that she was from. They were like, you know what, let's just merge all of Southeast Asia and mix it into one movie. They're all basically the same anyways. You know how scummy that feels. You couldn't even like identify her as like one race, because even like Rapunzel, even if they made up the country or the kingdom, we still know that Rapunzel's German. Like we still know that she's German. Like the word is literally like Rapunzel is literally like a German cabbage. Hi Nate, welcome, welcome. F18, hello, hello. Yeah, so it's like yes, I am a person of color. I am a woman and I am queer and I love diversity. I love representation. However, what I love more is a good story. I love good characterization. I love it when characters do things that make sense, or casting choices or design choices make sense. And so it's like, I'm not giving you a gold star just because you decided to write a character that was also a woman. It's like do you have any idea how many dudes love the movie Mulan? And it's like that's like a Disney princess movie. That's like a female character. It's like you'd think they'd like, according to these like woke SJW like DEA 11 people, they think like, oh, like the only reason our movie or our TV show is tanking is because it's just like gross straight white male fans that are hating on us. And I'm like, no, you guys just suck at writing nowadays. Hi Nate, hello. People call Black Panther diverse, even though it's like, yeah, okay. So the thing that I thought was really weird about Black Panther, right, was like I appreciated it, but at the same time, it kind of felt iffy when they brought in Michael B. Jordan's character. And I was like, okay, so here comes this Black American guy, right? Who's never been to Wakanda or even Africa for that matter. He comes in and he's already like, first of all, a tourist. He doesn't know anything about the culture except for the language, since his dad spoke it to him when he was growing up. He comes in like a freaking like foreigner, and he's already like, yo, I have a right to claim, I have like, claim to the throne because I am also a son of a prince here. But they're like, yeah, but your dad got exiled, so I don't think that counts. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna kill your priest, and I'm gonna fight T'Challa, right, who is like the rightful king of Wakanda. And then he does that, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna take Wakanda's technology and I'm gonna take it to America, and we're gonna shoot up all the white people. And I'm like, that is a really weird way to do this. That's a weird story, my guy. And it's like, it's not that I don't feel for black Americans, it's just that, like, I mean, you're a tourist, bro. Like, how dare you? You know, you're a freaking like foreigner technically. Like, yes, you have like the genes and everything, and yeah, but like technically, like, you're kind of shitting all over their culture. You know, it's weird. It's colonization. Like, he's doing like some sort of weird like cultural appropriation colonization thing, and it's very strange, very weird. I like Disney only for Marvel. I don't know what they're doing with Marvel nowadays, but it gets goofy. However, I will say this, it's definitely a lot better than whatever the fuck is happening with Sony. Fun fact, Sony has like this contract where they have to make like some sort of like Spider-Man related movie every couple of years, or else they lose like the rights to it. But because Marvel already has like Peter Parker technically, they in the form of Tom Holland, they can't really use like Spider-Man for their franchises. So that's why they're, like, in between making, the across the spider or like the Spider Verse movies with Miles Morales, they have to make like one Spider-Man related movie every couple of years, and that's why they made stuff like Venom and Morbius and Madam Web, and they all kind of sucked a little bit. They're just filling a quota, bro. Like, they are not like really caring about this. Yeah, Morbius, bro. Like, I loved it when he morbed all over the place. Fox and the Fantastic Four. Exactly. It's like, so the thing with the Spider-Man stuff with Sony, the stuff with like forced diversity with Disney, and yeah, like you said, like the Fantastic Four stuff. It's like when you can tell that they're forced to do this and they don't actually want to make these movies, you can feel it, you know? It's like you can tell that there's no passion behind these franchises or these movies, and that's what I really despise about a lot of modern day films. And that's why people don't really like going to the movies anymore. There'll be like one or two good movies every like couple of years, but a lot of the time people will just stick to streaming services or watch TV shows or watch anime. They don't care about movies. Movies suck. Have you like I don't like Venom. No, Venom was great. I'm not really sure about the other stuff. Like, oh my god, I tried watching Morbius. Holy shit. It was way worse than I was expecting. I watched like three or four different reviews for the movie Morbius, and then when it actually came down to watching it, holy shit, the brain rot, dude. The brain rot that I had when I was watching Morbius. It started and ended so weirdly. I think, oh my god, can I get away with some sort of like drunk watch along with Morbius? Can I do that? Hi, raid people. Hello, hello. Yeah, no. Okay, I will say this. So like on that note, Venom was fun, I think, but I'm not. I didn't really care. Okay, so like Venom was good to a point, and then I stopped caring about it the rest of the film. I don't know why. It's like it felt weird, like in the second half, but I love the dynamic between Venom and what was his name? I'm just gonna say Tom Brady. They were great together. I loved how depressed he looked the entire time. It was hilarious. Hi, hi. You fell for it. It took me a while to realize the joke was that Morbius was a bad movie that people pretend. Yeah, no. Okay, so I knew that Morbius was going to suck because I watched very honest, like Morbius reviews, and then I was like, you know what? I need to see how bad it actually gets. I need to see how terrible this movie is, and then nothing could have prepared me for how long it felt. Like, it was really bad. What do you think about Godzilla minus one? I haven't seen it. I can't remember the last Godzilla movie I watched. It was the one with like King Kong. I don't know. What was the one with Mothra in it? The one where all the monsters were in. You know, like Godzilla and Mothra were getting shipped for some reason. Very interesting. Very interesting. They didn't make a Mothra. Wait, wait, pause. Do you guys remember when Morbius was like so like memed on by the internet that they were like, wait, do people want to see Morbius? We have to release it again. Maybe we'll make up like maybe we'll make our money back this time around. Nope, they got trolled. They got they got freaking trolled, bro. That was so embarrassing. And people were like, "No, I think Sony should release it a second time. They should re-release it a second time. They should have 3 weekends or like 3 showings of Morbius. They should re-release it." Yeah. But yeah, maybe I could somehow figure out a way to do like a watch along with Morbius, just because it's like I feel like we could all just collectively watch Morbius together while getting wasted. I think it'll be funny. Man, I wish I had a Discord server and then I could just like watch it with you guys and then we'd all get drunk and VC and then laugh and laugh. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. So, let's start from the basics, right? Snow White was the very first full-length Disney animated movie. It is also the very first Disney film that I actually watched. And so when I watched it, I was like blown away. First of all, love the songs. Um, interesting plot. It was kind of scary at certain times. And here's the thing, right? I really hate how a lot of people nowadays, like a lot of like older people are like, oh, like, why are you watching cartoons? That's for kids. Fun fact. Back when they first started making animated content in the 30s, 40s, 50s, animation wasn't seen as just for kids. They were very much adult content. They were made for adults because like they're like, what do kids like? Wait, they're not watching movies. Like these are dumb little idiots, you know? It's like let them play with their coloring books, you know? So adults were making animated films for other adults, and that's why you see like old cartoons had like a lot of dirty themes, a lot of like adult themes and dirty jokes and stuff, right? Because that was all it was. It was just a medium. It wasn't seen as like kids content till like much later on. The only reason they made it kids content was because later down the line they realized, hey, we need to like make more money. And in order to me watching Boku no Pico, yeah, yeah, definitely. In order to make more money, let's market to more people, and that means also marketing to children, especially since they don't got jobs. They have more time to watch content, right? So let's make animated content that's fun for the whole family. And that's what Disney was about. Max Fleischner was kind of still adult, like the Betty Boop stuff and like all those like old cartoons. It was very much for adults. But when Disney came along, he wanted to make content for his daughters. And so he wanted to like take these Brothers Grimm stories and make it all family friendly. So for example, Snow White. A lot of people are like, yo, it's pretty weird that like a 30-year-old is going after a 14-year-old. But in the original story, I really want to see a version of Snow White that's made with the original story in mind, because like the Brothers Grimm version of Snow White was actually like really fucked up. So first of all, what kind of dude would go into the woods, see what he can only presume to be a dead body, and then just kind of fall in love with it, right? Necrophile, very weird dude. However, what he did next was just kind of really insane. So you guys know that in the movie he wakes her up by kissing her, and it's like, oh, true love's kiss, how cute. In the original story, in the Brothers Grimm version, right? What they what he did was he got his servants to take her casket, bring it home with him, and made them carry her around so he can go on dates with her around his castle. he would prop her up and eat meals with her. He would have his servants like carry her around the garden so he could go on walks with her. He would have conversations with her. Dude was mad. Like he was so fucking down bad for like this like dead girl. It was crazy. Okay, yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Hi, Bakura. Hello, coworker. Miles, welcome, welcome. I could shush, shush. Yeah, no, fuck, fricks, fricks. No, but seriously though, dude was crazy. And what is the Disney movie topic right now? Snow White, literally the very first one, and like the very because I'm going in a chronological order and like just bitching about each of the movies. I want to see a movie that's based off of the Brothers Grimm version because how fucked up would that be, right? So it's like you have this guy literally going on dates with this dead body. And then okay, so here's what happened in the original telling of this. So in the Brothers Grimm version, instead of her like eating the poisoned apple and then like going into a comatose state, what happened was the apple was lodged in her throat, and so that's why she wasn't really like dead yet. She was just kind of like unconscious, I suppose. And so, first duck. Oh my god, I see. Yeah, exactly. Our friendship arc is over. No, no, I'm greeting everyone as coworker. Don't worry, it's not just you. I'm treating you like everybody. Oh my god, Clotho Virgin Melodium fans. Hello, 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 Melodites. Hello. We are bitching about Disney right now. So, okay, as I was saying, in the original Snow White, this dude was crazy down bad for this dead body, right? He was like falling in love with her just because she was a little pretty. And then, first of all, weird because she's like 14, but it was normal at the time. And he was making his servants take her all around the place, having dinner with her, going on walks with her, reading to her and stuff. And he was just like talking to her, right? Reminds me of that time when Dan Harmon, I think, from Rick and Morty, he had like a whole sex doll and had like a relationship with her and would talk to her a lot. It was weird. So that was basically like what it was like. And one day, one of the servants tripped as they were moving her body around, right? He tripped, she fell, and the apple got dislodged from her throat, and that's what woke her up. It wasn't true love's kiss, it was just a fucking accident, bro. She got Heimlicked. So yeah, I think it would just be hilarious if they made a movie based off of the original Brothers Grimm version, just because it's so fucking funny. And then and she's like, "Oh, you saved me, I guess." And then they get married, I suppose. Yeah, yeah. The V stands for virgin. Yeah, he's confirmed it. Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. So okay, we are moving on to the Cinderella version. Actually, yes, yes. Okay, so y'all know what Cinderella's about. Now, the Brothers Grimm version was also very gruesome, very fucked up, right? Um, so I think they did depict this in what movie was it? Was it Into the Woods? I think it was Into the Woods. So when the ugly stepsisters couldn't fit their big old feet in the tiny little shoe, right? What they did was one of them like god, I can't even say it, bro. I think like they cut off pieces of their feet in order to like squeeze it in. And I'm just like, bro, like how hard would it have been to grab the prince, let him come with them while searching for this like Cinderella girl and just kind of look for her face, because I feel like you could eliminate a lot of candidates just by being like, oh, she wasn't a brunette, she wasn't a redhead, she was like this tall. I feel like just having the guy identify her like visually would have saved a lot of trouble. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Into the Woods. Yeah, that was also very fucked up. Honestly, it was. Yeah, it was the Prince sniffs Cinderella's feet in the Grimm version. Yeah, yeah, bro. Listen, listen. I don't blame people for their foot fetish. but I will shame them for having it. It's just like, listen, you can't blame me necessarily for having an NTR kink, but you can shame me for it. I deserve it. Yeah, I know, but it's like it's really fucked up how these stories actually play out. But I will say this before you judge too much. The reason why the Brothers Grimm versions were like that was because you have to understand, um, in Eastern European culture, what they like to do is to scare their children into behaving. And so that's what all these like fairy tales were for. They were like, hey, watch out for strangers, and don't talk to strangers, and like don't stray off the path. And that's what like Little Red Riding Hood was about. It wasn't just to like traumatize people, being like, oh, a wolf might eat you. No, it's like staying away from like all that. But they also, I think it was also something to do with like puberty and having sex. I think that's why it was like a red hood. And yeah, exactly. Brothers Grimm. Okay, so when you say ancient creepy pastas, a lot of the time creepy pastas are just to scare people, right? Brothers Grimm tales, those old fairy tales from Germany or like other regions in Eastern Europe. It's literally just stories for children, because in Asia we have a bunch of those. I'm sure America also has something similar, but it's very common in like European and Asian, and I think also like Latin American countries. We just really love terrifying our children, instead of being like, oh, don't answer the door to strangers, and don't go with people you don't recognize. I mean, like, instead of just being like that, instead of just telling them, hey, you might get kidnapped, so don't go with anyone you don't know, okay, just go straight home. Instead of just telling a child that they're like, you might die a horrible death because a witch will eat your soul. It's like, huh? You gotta add some pizzazz when you traumatize your child. Oh, question for the audience: if you guys don't have children right now, but you want to have children someday, are you going to tell them about like superstitious beliefs? Like, are you gonna tell them about the tooth fairy? Are you gonna tell them about like Santa Claus? Are you gonna tell them about like, I don't know, Krampus? Because I'm like, okay, I don't want to lie to my children, but also I want them to have something in common with the other kids, like how, like, I don't want them to be like that one loser who's never heard of Santa Claus. It'll be like a bonding experience. It's like, I like to bond with other kids whose Asian parents also told them that if they jump during the Lunar New Year's, they'll grow a bit taller, like that. Like, you gotta lie to your kids just for the fun of it, just so they'll have the experience of the deception. Santa Claus at the bare minimum. I don't want to rob the Christmas magic from anyone. Exactly. Shout out to the Jewish kids who never spoiled it for the Christians. Shout out to them. If a parent will, another kid will, and they'd be so. I know, right? It's like, yeah, because imagine going to preschool, and like the kid's gonna be like, what's a tooth fairy? And they're like, what? You never had a visit from the tooth fairy? Oh my god, you're such a loser, Jared. Oh my god. Anyways, so what is next on the list of traumatizing children's stories? Hang on. Wait, hang on. And should I go with like theatrical releases or just like animated movies in general? You're naming your future kid Jared? No, no, I'm not naming him Jared. I feel like it's a bad luck name. If you're named Jared, I feel like you're like the type of dude that probably sells weed to middle schoolers, but it's really bags of oregano because you can actually get a dealer. Like, no, we are not naming him Goku. Nah, not the subway guy. Okay, okay. Next on the list, Pinocchio. Okay, not a Disney princess film. But okay, what do you guys think about Pinocchio? Remember when there were three Pinocchio movies that came out in the same year? Wasn't that weird? Like, we had like the Disney version, that Guillermo del Toro version, and then like that whack gay one, which I thought was like the funniest. So I'm like, hmm, I like the original. I'm gonna be honest. The original Disney version of Pinocchio creeped me out more than the other ones did, because like the other ones had like all this weird extra lore, and I'm just like, just tell me that the fox is gonna deceive the child, and if you do bad things like drinking and smoking at a young age and misbehave and skip school, you're gonna get turned into a donkey and sold. You know, like tell me about that. I feel like, yeah, just like there's just something about that one iconic scene in the original Disney version of Pinocchio when they were turning into donkeys. That was just like, it's like baby's first body horror, you know? Like that was so good. It was so like well animated. It was like just having like the shadow slowly transform into a donkey. It was just so good. I loved it. And then I watched like the live action adaptation. I was like, this is less scary for some reason. It's kind of goofy actually. Pinocchio smelling a pie of cow shit on this. Oh no. Yeah, that was weird. That was in the live action. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like what morals did we learn from that film? Basically, don't misbehave, I guess, is like the story, or like the moral of the story. Because okay, but like can I be like 100% real with you guys? I know Geppetto was like 100 years old or whatever, but I think he really fucked up by first of all, you have like your wooden magical child like be born just last night, and you're already sending him off to school. Maybe teach him how to eat like a person first, like teach him about, I don't know, the government. I don't know. I just think it's crazy that he'd known this kid like one day and was like, you're gonna go to school and you're gonna be with strangers, and I'm just gonna expect that you know how the world works. I'm like, bro, can you please teach him like not to trust strangers and not to like, get lost or whatever? It's very weird. I feel like he should have treated Pinocchio like any other kindergartner, It's like you're supposed to make sure you walk them to school. I don't know why Geppetto thought that Pinocchio would just know where to go. I don't understand that logic. It's like your kid was just born and you expect him to know these streets? Geppetto, please, you're a very irresponsible old man. It's weird. What movie y'all talking about? We're talking about Pinocchio. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, but it's like I just think that if your whole shtick is that you've been wanting a child for so long, and you're like, oh, I'm so worried about my boy and I want the best for him, and you just send him off on his merry way, and all you did was like, here's your books and an apple. Good luck. Figure it out, bitch. And I'm just like, why are you treating him like he's like a video game protagonist, and you're just like hoping that he gets to like the objective properly? Geppetto was a busy carpenter, needed the free daycare from school. It's day one. But yeah, it's like I can understand that, but I feel like maybe walk him to school on the first day. Especially since it was so early in the morning. That was probably like 6 or 7 a.m. Maybe it's like a robot where he just programmed everything into him and expected it to work. Yeah. Do you know how lucky Geppetto is that Pinocchio already knew the language he was speaking? Like, imagine if he was exactly like a baby and he just like had to teach him the basics, like how to read, how to write, how to tell his left from his right. Hey, that rhymed. And then I don't know. He was just really lucky, I guess. And then he fucked up. He fucked up royally. And I think it's fair to complain when an old man who's been on this earth for so many years fucks up in a very basic way. It's like you're gonna let your little toddler just walk to school and not expect a fancy top hat wearing tall fox man and his weird like short friend. You expect them not to deceive him and selling him to the circus. You expect all that, Geppetto? No wonder you got swallowed up by a whale, old man. I'm very passionate about this one thing. Also very weird, but like human Pinocchio looked real goofy. I don't know. He looked really weird. I think just having a normal nose threw him off. For me. I don't know. He looked way too soft. I didn't like it. But I will say this: not as horrific as the designs in the weird live action version of Pinocchio. It's just gross, man. Just gross. I think it's crazy to have a Pinocchio adaptation and then I don't know. It's like they made it really weird, and I don't want to get into it. There were like three different Pinocchio live action adaptations. Well, not live action, the theatrical releases, and I was like watching all of them just to see which one was the worst. The one where he goes like you guys remember like gay Pinocchio and that was like a whole meme. That one was the funniest. So if you guys want to watch that one, definitely check it out. It's so stupid, but I feel like the second half of the movie gets boring. But it gets stupid again later on. But it's still kind of boring in comparison to the first half of the film. I think what that nose is. Shut up. That's why Geppetto's wife left him. Yeah. Okay. We are moving on from this. I am done complaining about the Italian man. Imagine being Italian. Okay. Um, should I tackle? Okay, speaking of deadbeat fathers, I'm kidding. But we have a twofer over here in the animal department: Dumbo and Bambi. First of all, not really loving the Dumbo live action film, but I am looking forward to the Bambi live action. Did you guys know that Bambi is already public domain? So that means anybody can get their hands on this story. And that means it was perfectly legal for this other studio to make a Bambi horror film. Like a suspense thriller monster film. And I'm like, you know what? It actually looks pretty cool. I want to see bloodthirsty Bambi like murdering a bunch of people. I love it. It's gonna be like Cujo. It's gonna be like Cujo. Because what happened with Blood and Honey, which was the horror film inspired by Winnie the Pooh, when Winnie the Pooh became public domain, not great. I thought it was like a really dumb film. It was really dumb. But I'm looking forward to Bambi. Does Bambi have a human actor? I don't think he talks. I think it's just like a CGI deer. I'm really excited for it. I just want to see like people getting bodied by a deer, man. Like I just want to see that because you know what would have been really terrifying? Like a movie just about like a rampaging moose, and that's just like a normal day in Canada. So it's like a bloodthirsty deer is amazing as a concept. So I'm hoping it turns out well. I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's like a 7 to 8 out of 10. Karma, hello, welcome. Bambi deserves its revenge. Exactly. um. So okay. So how I feel about Dumbo and Bambi. It's like I mean, as films, they're sweet, and it's like I haven't really watched Dumbo a lot growing up, but I did watch Bambi a lot. I even watched like the sequel, which is just Bambi's childhood, which he spends with his dad. So thankfully, Bambi's dad was not a deadbeat. He was only a deadbeat until his baby mama died, and then he showed up. But like with Dumbo, his dad was not in the picture. It was just his mom, and then he like I don't know gets kidnapped. I don't remember what happens. Like, what movie have you done? I'm going in chronological order. So we've already done Snow White, Cinderella, Pinocchio. Right now we're on Dumbo and Bambi. I think. Okay. So did you guys watch the live action to Dumbo? I think with the live action Disney films, when it comes to the ones with animals like The Lion King and Dumbo, and I think they also did 101 Dalmatians again for some reason. I think don't let don't let the animals talk unless you're going to commit. See, what was weird about the live action Lion King was that John Favreau wanted to make the film almost like a documentary, like a National Geographic type of thing, and that's why he insisted on not having facial expressions. He wanted the animals to communicate through body language, which is fine and all, but why did you guys backtrack and add the music back in? And why did you make them talk? It's like it was perfectly fine if you wanted to do like this whole weird like reimagining of the film. You know what movie made it work with just pure body language? The original live action version of 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close. That one had like no talking animals. And just like it was just like the human actors that were talking. But if you're gonna make it animated, what movie made it work was Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, because aside from the narration by our main character, voiced by Matt Damon, a lot of the stuff with the horses was just body language, facial expressions, and like noises that they were making. So I was expecting the live action version of The Lion King to be like that, but no, it was kind of trying to be both. It was trying to be realistic while also having talking animals. And I'm like, bro, you fucked up. It's like if you wanted them to talk, give them human like facial expressions. You know, make them frown, make them emote. Like, what are you doing? Trying to be realistic and also very fictional at the same time. It's very confusing. Looking extremely interesting and compared. Yeah, I've seen that. Yep, yep. So you're doing past to present. Yep, exactly. Because I wanted to go through all of them because the most recent Disney movies have been pissing me the fuck off. So that's why I'm doing it in chronological order. Okay, what is the next one? Ooh, I don't. Oh, okay. Alice in Wonderland. Um, Okay, so Alice in Wonderland, I think, is a very good animated film. It's really fun, it's very kooky. I read the book, listened to the audiobook, watched both live action films, and honestly, the Disney version of the movie, very good. It's just the right amount of whimsy and kookiness without making it like horrific, because that was like what Tim Burton wanted for his version of the story. Like when he made the live action version, he wanted to make it all weird and creepy. But yeah, so it's like when it comes to Alice in Wonderland, I think it's it's supposed to be an acid trip of a movie. You know, things are supposed to be weird. Things are supposed to be ominous and strange, but like not necessarily dangerous, right? And with the live action version, they definitely tried to add the danger levels back in. So it's like I guess it's up to you, like what you prefer. I just prefer the original because it was just fun. It was just really fun to watch. Um, hmm. Okay, the next one. Speaking of acid trips, next one is Peter Pan. I love the fan theories of this so much more than the original content. I love Peter Pan a lot. I'm actually like planning on a web comic based off of Peter Pan, but like we'll talk about that in the future. I'm probably gonna release it under like a pseudonym. But so with Peter Pan, right? In the original book, Peter Pan is much younger than Wendy. I mean, technically, he's much older than her, but not that much older, and he's kind of like his physiology is like he's kind of like a 7 year old, while Wendy is kind of like 12 or something, 12 or 13. So there was never going to be a romance. Like the only romance, like they added the romance into the Disney version and also that 2003 live action version, which I think is the best live action version of Peter Pan, if I'm being honest. Um, I don't even want to discuss the most recent live action adaptation of Peter Pan. It is an insult to the story. It is an insult to my intelligence, and I don't want to. I don't want to acknowledge it. But I will say this: they definitely One in regards to being probably the worst adaptation. I think I think Hook was very goofy, but it had its good moments. So yeah, that was. I think the Muppets did it better. We did the Muppets do no the Muppets did Treasure Island. They didn't do the Peter Pan. Um, oh, fun fact! I found a very. What about Coco? We'll get to that. That's Disney Pixar. I don't know if we're gonna tackle Disney Pixar today. Maybe in a next stream. I don't know. So funny story, right? I I came across okay. So I don't know if you guys know about the Tinkerbell straight to DVD movies, right? So the thing with those, it's like I watched every single Tinkerbell movie, and I kind of wondered why they stopped making them. It seems like when they were in the works of like their fifth or sixth installment of the Tinkerbell films, that's around the time Disney came out with the live action adaptation of Cinderella, and that made so much bank. And then not long after, they bought Star Wars, and that made a lot of bank. So basically, the reason why they stopped making Tinkerbell was because they realized, okay, like nobody's really like buying these that much, and we're not turning a profit nearly as much as these live action films. So let's stop making the animated shit, and let's just focus on the live action movies. And very sad, very sad. I like the live action adaptation of Cinderella, but it's not much better than like any other thing. It just happens to be the least awful live action adaptation in my opinion. Hello, Mikan. Hello, hello. Blank. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. So okay, I want them to bring back the Tinkerbell movies. I don't care. I want the closure. I need to see Tinkerbell getting like I don't know, separated from her fairy friends. I want to see how she turned from this nice good girl who knows how to build things to this jealous bitch of a fairy who only simps for one boy. Like what happened to Terrence? Why did you leave him? He was your fairy boyfriend. Yeah, so I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Make them bring back the Tinkerbell movies. I don't care if they don't make a profit. I will buy all of them. Okay, hi Autumn, welcome back. Okay, next up on the list, Lady and the Tramp. Okay. So okay, I'm going to get a little controversial here. But when I saw that the live action, like when they made like the trailer for the live action adaptation of Lady and the Tramp, I was kind of livid because they made the wife, they made Darling, they made her a black woman, and don't say I'm racist, but it's like the reason I have a problem with that is because this is set in a very realistic time period. This wasn't like some bullshit kingdom that they made. And like they're like, oh, this is like vaguely 14th century Germany. No, this was like the 1910s, and you're trying to tell me that in the 1910s in North America, a black woman and a white man could just casually be married to each other in a rich white neighborhood, a gated community, and no consequences. And I'm just like, it feels like what people were complaining about when it came to Song of the South. Because people weren't necessarily mad at like that dude in Song of the South. They were mad at how like they made that like a very idyllic fake historical setting where oh these black maids in this white house, yeah, this white household, these black maids are having a good time. There's no slavery, there's no discrimination, they're all so happy together. And it's like you don't need to throw in like blatant racism and historical accuracy in these movies, but I feel like changing things up for diversity is weird. The thing that's crazy is that they added racial tension in in Princess and the Frog, and it wasn't a big deal. It was Louisiana, it was New Orleans in like the 20s, right? So obviously there was going to be some racial tension there. But that wasn't like the main focus of the story. There was a lot of like undertones, but it wasn't like the main focus. You don't have to have people saying the N word to say, hey, she's kind of undermined for being a black woman, for being a poor black woman. That was like their whole thing. And so I feel like kind of just kind of ignoring like the historical context is kind of like it's like, oh, America was never racist. Like that's how it felt to me. It's kind of weird. Doctor Who episodes where they go, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, okay, let's just have no races. Yeah, the forced diversity. Okay, I will say this. I will say this. I don't like the forced diversity in a lot of modern day films, especially with Disney, because it seems like they only care about black people. Have you guys noticed? They like to race bend mainly to like black. I mean, aside from when they turn Snow White Latina, like everybody else, they're just like, let's just add black people in the story. There was this one movie they made, or like this one adaptation they made of Artemis Fowl, which is like a book series, kind of like Percy Jackson, but not as good. They took like whatever diverse characters they had and then just kind of like fucked it up for some reason. So in the main ensemble of Artemis Fowl, you have a white boy as the main protagonist. You have like the female supporting character had nut brown skin, so you could just decide what race you want her to be, but she has to be brown skinned, right? And then the butler guy was Asian, I think. I think he was Euro Asian, yeah. And so you would have had like a brown girl, a white boy, and like a Asian. And then in the live action, they made both kids, like they made the boy and the girl white, and then they made the butler guy black. And I'm like, bro, so like Asian people can't get representation now? That's weird to me. So that's how I feel about it. It's like you're gonna add like all these like black people in these films. Why don't you care about Hispanics? Why don't you care about Asian people? They never care. They never care about that sort of thing. It's like you're not it's just odd. It's like, okay, is it because no one else wants to make like a riot? Is it just because black people make riots about this whole thing? It's like, is that it? Is that why? Is this like in when it comes to queer baiting, for example, in media, a lot of people are like, oh, they want that LGBT dollar. They want the gays to give them money. So I think they're doing the exact same thing when it comes to black people. They're like, oh, look, a black person in our video game, a black person in our movie. You have to watch it, otherwise you're not supporting other black people. You're not supporting BLM. And I'm like, bro, make your story good and then we'll watch it. Like I also in regards where's our Filipina Disney prince, that's why I was so mad at like Raya and the Last Dragon, because they didn't even have the balls to give her a single race. They were just like, Raya and the Last Dragon is vaguely Southeast Asian. You can't tell what race she is because she's all the races. Artist Fowl was like my, yeah, they made the butler black. Yeah. Funny how yeah, no, exactly. It's weird. It's weird. Um Strange historical changes are made. Okay. So speaking of historical changes, so how did you guys feel when they race bent the Little Mermaid, when they race bent Ariel? Because their whole thing was like, oh, if you get mad at this, you're racist because she just needs to know how to sing. That was her whole thing. It was never important that she was white or black or what, like, or that all her sisters are different races for some reason. And I'm like, fair play, but then explain Snow White. Like her whole thing was that she was pasty white. That was her whole description. She was like described like a vampire. Snow White was like literally named after how pale she was. She had skin as white as snow, hair as red as a raven's and raven's feathers, and she had lips as red as a rose. Freaking creepy ass vampire Jeff the Killer looking ass over here, right? And you're telling me this light medium skinned Latina is Snow White? You could have had a Latina that just also happened to be very light skinned. There's lots of light skinned Latinas there, and they went with like a medium skin toned woman who seems to hate the original story. First of all, it's the exact same problem with the acolyte main characters. It's like they seem to just hate the people that enjoy the original source material. They hate the original source material. I'm like, why are you letting this person be the main character of your franchise if they hate it so much? Yeah, it's like I have no problem towards, like I have no issue with the actress Haley Haley Berry. Wait, what was her name? Yeah, that's probably her name. No. Yeah, that's her name. I have no problem with her. But I feel like if they were going to make a black Disney princess live action adaptation, why didn't they just make Princess and the Frog? It's literally Black America. They literally set it in a real place, in a real time period. And they didn't have the balls because they felt like the Princess and the Frog didn't pull in as much numbers as the Little Mermaid did. And I'm like, what? That's it? That's all because of money? I enjoy the implication of King Neptune having kids of all races. I like it too because it makes it, because it's supposed to be representation of all the different seas. They're all named after like the different oceans and seas and stuff. I'm like, okay, I guess, but it's kind of jarring. They were like, let's try to throw in as much diversity as we can in this one film. The Acolyte interviews where they talk about how Anakin blew up the Death Star. Yeah, bro does not know what he's talking about. I can't believe that dude. He was like, yeah, it's like the thing I like about Star Wars is that it's all morally gray. You don't know who's right or wrong. And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure the child murderer was probably in the wrong there, bro. Like, I'm pretty sure that wasn't seen as like a good thing or a morally gray issue, right? He was just like, Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we going to do? And then, bam, child murder. And I'm just like, you're trying to tell me that that was somehow a morally gray, controversial issue? Weird dude. The dark side is literally like cocaine that you. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's not supposed to be seen as a good thing. I think it's fun. I think the dark side is fun, but I'm not gonna pretend like they're good. Like what was that guy talking about? I'm sorry to that actor, but you're weird. um, yeah. Oh, you meant wives. Yeah. Exactly. He had like a bunch of different wives. I think it makes sense. Also, I thought it was like funny when someone brought out that King Triton from The Little Mermaid was canonically the son of Neptune from Greek mythology. So that would mean that Ariel and Hercules are somehow related, which I'm like, I'm down. I'm all for it. I mean, Greek mythology, childbirth always leads to weird creatures anyway. So who's to say that they didn't spawn some mermaids? I like that theory. Now, let's move on from this and go to, oh gosh, Sleeping Beauty. Okay, so again, the original Brothers Grimm version of Sleeping Beauty was really fucked up, and I'm not really entirely sure what it was supposed to be teaching children, like what the moral of the story was. But so you guys know there's the story of Sleeping Beauty. She gets woken up with a true love's kiss, just like Snow White. But just like Snow White, it was kind of fucked up what happened when she was unconscious. So let me traumatize you children just for a couple minutes. In the Brothers Grimm version of Sleeping Beauty, um, it's like the curse that kept her and her kingdom asleep was actually like 100 year old curse. It wasn't just like a couple days, it wasn't just a couple weeks or months, it was like 100 years, right? And so throughout that, through that, that period of time, there were lots of rumors, and rumors turned to legend, and then that got spread around a lot as like an urban myth. And so at some point, a king heard of it, and he was just like, oh, there's like a princess stuck in a tower and she's cursed with like a sleeping curse for like 100 years. That's crazy. I'm gonna go find her. And so he went there, he assaulted her, and he left, came back after a couple months. She apparently was able to deliver the baby to term, and then he assaulted her again, and then he left, and then came back when she was ready to give birth to the second child. So now he has two rape babies, heirs to the throne. But like the king was actually he was actually married. He already had a queen. And she was like, "Yo, dude, what the fuck? Where'd you get these kids? Are these ours? I didn't birth them. Where'd you get these babies?" So yeah, it was very fucked up, because like people are like, oh my god, Prince Philip kissed Aurora without her consent, she was sexually assaulted. And I'm just like, oh brother, you have no idea. I will not consider Prince Philip the same character as the king in the Brothers Grimm version, because Prince Philip was probably one of the most proactive princes of like any Disney princess franchise, because all the other ones were kind of just meh characters. Like Prince Charming was kind of just meh. This Snow White's prince, Prince Ferdinand, was also kind of meh. But like Shang from like Mulan, Aladdin from Aladdin, and Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty, they were very proactive male protagonists. So I appreciate them, and I will not stand for slander. However, the original story's king, rapey bastard, real weird creep. So yeah, very fucked up story. Now, how do I feel about the live action adaptation? I think it's interesting to focus um on Maleficent and use like the Sleeping Beauty live action as like more of a oh wait, no, yeah. Yeah, they did just make like a yeah, they made like a Maleficent movie, and they were like, "Okay, this is a prequel, I guess." And I think that's good that they weren't just going to remake the entire film but in live action and just taking a bunch of scenes and recreating them, because why would I watch that? That's kind of lame, like give me something new. So what they did with Maleficent was really good in my opinion. Gave it like a fresh new take, which makes it less boring. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. I think it could have been written better, but I'm not gonna complain too much. It was like the first of its kind. That's why they ended up making that movie, the one with Cruella. Yeah, they made that one. I think it was an okay film, but not a big fan of it. However, you know who they really should make a villain movie out of, or like a prequel movie for? Ursula, dude. I think there was a lot of unspoken lore in the original Little Mermaid movie that they did not talk about. So like Ursula literally mentions how she used to work in the palace, but she got kicked out and exiled. So that's why she's been like acting like a weird witch in the woods, just like, trying to trick people into making deals with her. And so she either gets paid with some weird stuff, or she gets like a little garden full of people who owe her. And it's like, I mean, technically she's conniving, but she did have a contract. And so it's like I can't really complain too much about her, like the way she's going about her business. But yeah, a young Ursula like thriving in the palace and only ending with her demise being like, "Yo, Ursula, I'm kicking you out." Because there's some theories, because some people had canon that Ursula was just like an employee. Some people had canon that Ursula was Triton's sister. A bunch of weird stuff. But like from what I know, in The Little Mermaid 2, straight to DVD sequel, Ursula has a younger sister named Morgana, who is literally just a skinnier version of her, much more crazy, less finesse. She's just really unhinged and weird. I don't like her that much. She's kind of weird and creepy. But yeah, it's like I feel like they really should just make an Ursula prequel film because there's a lot of shit they didn't explain, and I think it would be nice to explain it. Okay, moving on. There's 101 Dalmatians, which I already kind of mentioned. Sword in the Stone. Oh, just like a quick note. If you guys have seen any of those films, like during the Disney Dark Ages, so the Disney Renaissance is like like The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Pocahontas. Yeah, it's like that was when Disney was going through their golden age and their era of like just really good quality movies, right? However, there was the Disney Dark Ages. We're talking Sword in the Stone. We're talking Aristocats. We're talking the Jungle Book. We're talking the Black Cauldron. So it's like if you see an old Disney movie where it looks really sketchy and you can see all these pencil lines, the reason for that was because Disney at the time did not have a budget. They did not have a good budget. So, in order to save time and money, instead of going through the trouble of erasing and tracing over their sketches, they literally just scanned the pages directly into the machine and compiled the movie that way. That's why, like in those particular movies, you can see a lot of sketchy lines. I kind of like it. It's like low quality, but that's what makes it like unique. It has like a very distinct art style and look to it. But yeah. um Live action Jungle Book, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I know some people liked it. I'm kind of just yeah, I'm kind of neutral, I guess. Um I did like the sequel though. The sequel wasn't as good as like the first movie because it was like Mowgli going through puberty or some shit. But I kind of liked it. But the first movie was definitely better in my opinion. Um hmm I don't know if like I hope they don't make an Aristocats live action because first of all did not pull in that many that many viewers when it was released initially, so they're not going to remake that. The thing with the Disney live actions is that they're trying to make as much of a profit as they can by only remaking movies that were already pretty big at the box office originally. So it's like it's kind of like when celebrities or artists have like a greatest hits album. It's like, okay, I need people to come see my concert, so I'm only playing the songs that they like the most. The ones that people really really like, and that's basically what the live actions are kind of like. Um, hmm. Okay, but like I will say this though, like the Disney Dark Ages movies are while not as good as like the Disney Renaissance films, I really find kind of cozy. Like every now and then my family and I will just watch like the Aristocats or Sword in the Stone. Very funny by the way. The Black Cauldron, kind of dark, but like it's very like low key. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Live action Nemo, bro. Like, if they make a live action Nemo and it's gonna be that scene with like the tiny little fish getting like almost killed by like the water filter, I'm gonna cry, bro. Don't do it. Okay, yeah. Oh, Robin Hood as well. Robin Hood. You know what? This is where I thought I was a furry for a sec because I had such a big crush on Robin Hood and like Lady Marian from Disney's Robin Hood when he was like a fox. I like that, and I'm like, maybe I just like foxes. Don't tell Kenzo. Don't tell Kenzo that. I'll deny it. Hmm. Okay. Oh, The Rescuers. I forgot about that film. I still haven't seen The Rescuers Down Under, but I heard it's really good. I'm telling kids, no, I'll deny it. Don't tell him I like foxes. Don't tell him I'm secretly a furry. God damn it. No, no. Okay. The Rescuers, again, another film from like the Disney Dark Ages. I think also another mouse related Dark Age movie from Disney was uh, The Great Mouse Detective. So it's like Sherlock Holmes, but tiny and a mouse. I kind of liked it. It was like shitty in a good way. Yeah, they're never gonna get remade like ever. Don't worry about it. The Dark Age movies are never going to get remade. I think except for like the 101 Dalmatians, that was like the only one that got remade. I think. Fox and the Hound, Black Cauldron. Oh, you know what? Black Cauldron is very interesting because it's one of those things where the reason it sucked at the box office was because the behind the scenes was so fucking messy. And I felt really bad for the animation team. There was like so much going on behind the scenes during like the Black Cauldron production that is just like it just really felt like the animation department versus or like the production team in general versus like the higher ups. The corporate higher ups always ruin it for like the creatives, bro. Like I can't keep doing this, man. Like they sabotage them like so many times. Like they legit told them the wrong aspect ratio, and when they were getting close to like having to release the film, they were like, oh, actually we fucked up, you have to remake it with this aspect ratio instead. And so they had to like cram, and they had to like cut a lot of scenes out, they had to reuse a bunch of scenes. It was very sad. Oh, reusing scenes is also why it's really like the dark ages for Disney, because if you've noticed some repetitive animations in those movies, like for example, in both what was it? The mm, the Jungle Book, there is a scene where Mowgli gets licked by his wolf brothers when he comes home. And in The Sword and the Stone, the same thing happens when Arthur gets licked by like the dogs in that scene. So it's like that's another thing too. Like they will repeat cells. They will just trace over it just to save time and then throw it into a movie. Like they really were on a tight budget during that time. I felt kind of bad. What about Jungle Book? Um, Jungle Book was a good film. I think there were lots of good jokes. I really liked the supporting cast. Like the characters were good. Even the ones that were just there for a few scenes, like they were really entertaining. The sequel was okay, not nearly as good. The live action, I haven't really watched all of it, so I can't really tell. But I know some people like the live action Jungle Book, so The live action Jungle Book, I think, was one of the more popular ones of all the live action releases. So it was like Cinderella, Cruella, um, the Jungle Book. I don't know what else of the live actions were actually good. Okay, the Black Cauldron. You guys really should check out the Black Cauldron if you're into like creepy animated stuff. Like, whenever I want to watch like um animated films that are kind of Halloweeny, I'll watch the Black Cauldron. It could be a lot better, but for what it is, I kind of like it. There's like something nice about poor quality film sometimes, like oh, Oliver and Company. There were a lot of animal themed movies during the Dark Ages. There's a lot of them. Okay, so I already went through The Great Mouse Detective. Again, it's another one of those like really low key movies. Not a lot of people talk about, but are actually pretty good. In like a shitty way, And Oliver and Company, I think, is also another one of those films where it's like there's not there's like some good things about it. It's just like you can tell why it didn't do so well on the box office. It's not like a Disney princess film. It's not like a big story. It's literally Oliver Twist but with animals. That's literally what this is. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was Disney? Okay, interesting. I have not watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit from start to finish, like not yet. Anyways, I remember seeing a lot of stuff in the middle and then also near the end. I don't think I've ever watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit from start to finish, so I'll probably have to do that. Okay. Oh, okay. We're getting into the Disney Renaissance era now. Okay. So this is where good quality is great quality. Okay. So first on the list, Beauty and the Beast. I did not care for the live action version. I felt like there was a lot of weird stuff going on. They could do better. Oh, thank you so much. Um, but the 2D version, 2D original animated version, amazing. God tier, a masterpiece. It won an Oscar or something. That's pretty cool. So it's very significant because like that one ballroom scene when like the Beast and Belle were dancing. That scene, I think either got nominated or won, and like either at the Academy Awards or Oscars. I think it was like the Academy Awards. But it was like the first time Hollywood was made to feel like, hey, maybe we could take animated films seriously, and I'm really glad they did because I'm sick to death of people being like, like animated content is for kids. That's stupid. That's not real cinema. I'm like, look at this. It's great. It's amazing. Um, I will. Oh, I really love how many Disney films come with a musical soundtrack, even if it's just like four songs or like like less than four songs. I appreciate any and all Disney musicals, and it's like it's when it really royally sucks that it's like it bums me out so much. That's why I really hated what happened with what was it called, Wish, because the songs were not what Disney's about. Because Disney makes musicals, right? They make like Broadway esque musical songs. But Wish was written by people that only worked on pop music, so it kind of defeats the purpose, and they really shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, I'd rather you guys didn't make the songs, at this point. Okay. I think a lot of people have agreed that the human version of the Beast in Beauty and the Beast ugly as fuck, bro. Like for some reason, his beast form was way hotter. It's not because we're furries. I think it's just that somebody kind of figured it out that it's not so much that like the human version of the beast was ugly. It was just that he looked nothing like the beast. So it was hard to picture him as the same character. So he just looked like very foreign. Like he looked closer to Pocahontas's John Smith than he did the Beast. And I kind of agree. Cause like when someone daddified him and like added a beard, made his hair all brown, and like made him all scruffy and masculine, they were like, "Oh, okay, I see it now. I see the vision. I see it." But when it was literally, oh hi Mr. Waring, yeah, but it was literally just what human beast looks like. Adam, I believe was his name, Prince Adam. He looked but ugly, bro. He looked but ugly in comparison. Kind of like the same reason why I thought like the human version of Pinocchio looked weird, or I don't know. I just liked his original look. He looked really strange. Yeah, they tried and they failed. um, there was a lot of stuff going on in the live action version of Beauty and the Beast that I really hated. And it was just like, just like a bunch of weird politics. And listen, I love Emma Watson, and I really appreciate everything she's done with her life and how she is as a person. But that was like really fucking annoying of her when she was like, "Oh, I'm not going to wear a corset because women should be free." And I'm like, okay, that's nice and all, but this isn't supposed to be like some sort of political statement. We're literally it's like French court, It's like you're gonna wear a damn corset. And it's just like it's very misleading because a lot of people are like, oh, corsets are, misogynistic forms of torture. And I'm like, this is how uneducated you sound. You don't know what you're talking about, Emma Watson. I love you and all, but like this is not the time. This is not the place. Because even peasant girls wear corsets. They're called stays. They're nothing more than like a push up bra. That's all it is. It's like a sports bra or push up bra. That's all. There's fashion corsets that are supposed to cinch the waist to look more pretty and curved, but at the end of the day, even like peasant girls wear corsets at the time. Like chill. It's not that big of a deal. Also, can I be honest? The fucking dress that Belle wore during the ballroom scene was so ugly. It was so boring. It looked like a fucking quinceanera dress would have been so much prettier, and they made her look so boring. She didn't even wear gloves. It was like looking at a naked woman. I was like, come on, dude. No corset or gloves and minimal, like, jewelry and makeup. What are you doing? Like I feel like they should have at least made the skirt like really big and ornate and very grand, and they didn't even do that. Very boring, very boring. Um, I do appreciate how much of an asshole Gaston was, but he was still so charismatic as an asshole that you're like, okay, he's a jerk, but I kind of want to see more of him, just to see how crazy this dude can actually get, how vile, vicious, and evil he can really be. And he's just like a normal dude. He didn't have like magic powers or anything. He was just like a man of the people. If it was any other story, then Gaston would have been a hero. And that's why Beauty and the Beast is so good as a story, because it's like, oh, this dude that would have been a protagonist in any other story is the villain because we empathize with the monster. Also, yeah, like the Gaston at Disneyland is very funny. I love him. He's so charismatic. They casted really well, or like they trained him really well. And oh, you wear a corset. I love that for you. But anyways, so I just think that when it comes to like storytelling, Beauty and the Beast had a very good understanding of what it meant to have a slow burn relationship develop. Because even though we only saw them on screen for a few scenes, if you actually take into account that montage when Mrs. Potts was singing, um, it was just like several months worth of them living together in that castle and getting to know each other and understanding each other's boundaries and all that. And then they fall in love, and I'm like, you know what? I like that. But here's my hot take about the Beauty and the Beast and any similar stories. I think it's really fucked up that we're trying to teach the guy who's like a conceited person. We're trying to teach him a lesson into not caring about appearances by making him ugly. And the only way to cure his ugly disease is for someone else to not care about his ugly. And I'm like, how is that teaching him a lesson? He's still finding a hot girl and she just has low standards. Like, wouldn't it make more sense if like in a Beauty and the Beast story, wouldn't it make more sense if the guy was forced to try to fall in love with someone despite their appearance, like isn't that the whole point? Because all you're doing is like, hey, you're conceited as hell and you care a lot about how people look, so we're gonna force you to be ugly, and you have to somehow convince someone to like you despite of that. And I'm just like, that's teaching the girl to fall in love with someone for their personality and not their looks. You're not teaching this boy anything. He's still fine. He's literally with the hottest girl in town. Like, how is that teaching him any lessons, bro? That's crazy to me. It's weird. And I think that's like the problem with most Beauty and the Beast adaptations and stories, is that they're they're teaching the lesson to the wrong person. So yeah, that's my hot take when it comes to that sort of thing. Okay. Speaking of not caring about appearances, next up, Aladdin. So we have a broke boy, and he just, magically marries into money because he's just like so hot and charming. This princess is like, you know what? I like you, broke boy. And I mean, like, it was kind of weird for a sec because, he had to lie about all that, where he was just like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely a prince of a country you've never heard of. But I like to pretend to be poor so I could escape being a prince. And she's just like, I get that. I get that. And I'm like, I don't know. It's still iffy, but I kind of get it. And also, hi, Jank. Hello, hello. Yeah, pretty weird, pretty weird. Also, R.I.P. to Robin Williams. I think that was the only time I actually cried when a celebrity passed away. Like, I remember seeing the news all over Tumblr when it happened, and I was like devastated, and I cried for like an hour or something. And I don't think I've ever done that for any other celebrity. Like, anytime I heard about a celebrity death, I'm like, oh no! But then I move on. But like Robin Williams was like part of my childhood, so I cried. I will say this. Um, I think it's ridiculous in how in like so like the main issue with the genie, right, was like a lot of the genie had to do with Robin Williams himself, right? Like that's like that he does voices, he makes like weird jokes, he does like bits. He's always done this in every single movie he's been in, except for maybe like the Dead Poet Society. Every single movie he's been in where he gets to be funny. Oh wait, no, he also didn't really do that in when he was Theodore Roosevelt in like A Night at the Museum. Yeah, every comedic movie he's been in, he does voices, he does bits, he does references that no one ever really knows about for sure, but they think they find it familiar. Um, so like he does that, and they animate with that in mind, right? It's kind of like how in Hercules, the guy who voices Hades, that was what made them rewrite the character entirely. Because like when that guy came in, he was just like really funny and charismatic. They were like, oh my god, we should like mold the character based off of like what this guy is giving us, right? So in the live action version of Aladdin, Will Smith tried, but like you can't really capture the same energy because Robin Williams is Robin Williams and Will Smith is Will Smith. So it's like that was never going to work because it's like Genie has such a specific characterization that can only be done by Robin Williams. So like are you one of those Disney adults? Imagine. I care a lot about Disney, but not in a I'm so obsessed with it that I really want to cosplay it all the time and I want to have all my merch like all around my room. Not that kind of Disney adult. I'm just like really passionate about animated films and movies in general. Cause like I'm gonna do another one of this, but it's like we're gonna do Pixar, another one where we do DreamWorks, another one where we do the other ones. Okay. So Next up. Also, Aladdin is one of those things where they tried to make a series, like a TV series, and when they didn't have a budget or something, they just combined those episodes into a movie, and they were like, "This is a sequel now." And I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. At least you don't have to release it as a sequel. Like you didn't have to do that. You can just say like it's a spin-off or whatever. Okay. Hmm. The Lion King. Okay. Let's go. Okay. How much of Kingdom Hearts lore do you have figured out? None. I don't play Kingdom Hearts. I think Dark Mickey is very funny though. Like cultist Mickey looks hilarious to me. Okay. The Lion King. I love this movie. I think it's amazing. One of the best animated movies of all time. Did you know that The Lion King was the very first film to have the title at the end of the movie? Like, so you have like the opening sequence where we have like the initial opening title card, right? After the end of the first song, Circle of Life. And then at the end of the last song, and then they they have like a reprise and everything, and then they have the Lion King, like like just you know flash on screen. That was the very first time that a movie did that. And so every time you see a movie that has like the title of the movie flash at the end of the movie, that's all because of the Lion King. That's all because of them. So yeah, I think the Lion King was such a good film that it's no wonder people were so disappointed in the live action version of it, because it's like you took all the fun out of a very fun movie. Like if you ask me what my top three favorite Disney films are, it's Mulan, The Lion King, and The Little Mermaid. And I just absolutely hated what happened with all those live action versions of those movies. All of them sucked. All of them. I think they're all really bad. It's like you were setting yourselves up for failure, honestly, by aiming so high and not being able to deliver. So, like with The Lion King, I think they really nailed it when they were trying to balance out like such serious themes while also having like fun slapstick and like comedic bits like here and there. And it's like I think all movies, even the ones directed towards children, like the Trolls movies or whatever, My Little Pony, I think all animated media or just movies that are directed towards like all ages, right? Like especially towards kids. I think what makes a good film is when they know how to have fun, but also know when to dial it back, slow down, and have a serious scene, you know? And that's why something like the Puss in Boots on the Last Wish movie was so freaking good, right? But something like Kung Fu Panda 3, I did not like. If you guys like Kung Fu Panda 3, that's your prerogative. But me personally, I feel like when I was watching the film, it was like very obviously directed towards children because it seemed like they were too afraid to have a serious scene for more than 3 seconds. Like, they couldn't even have a scene where Poe reunites with his birth father or his biological father without like a stupid joke. And I'm like, why couldn't you just let this like simmer? Why couldn't you let us have like such a serious moment here? Because literally the first movie had like this whole like war criminal, and like the second movie had literal genocide. It had like a freaking tyrant. It had on-screen deaths. There was trauma relations and stuff like, or, like, and it's so weird coming from such a serious like kids movie and then going on to like have a movie where they can't even like sit down for like 2 minutes to have like a moment where someone does not make a fart joke. It's like it's very insulting to my and the audience's intelligence. I'm gonna be honest. Okay. Okay, we're gonna skip over the sequel, The Return of Jafar. We're gonna move on to a Goofy movie. So while it's not like a Disney princess movie or whatever, a Goofy movie has been having some sort of resurgence lately, and I think it's for good reason. It's a really fun film. It's really interesting because the Goofy movie had the romance between Max and his school crush, Roxanne. That was the catalyst, but it wasn't nearly as big as a focus as you think it would be, because with a Goofy movie, it's more about Max's relationship with his dad than with him trying to get with his crush, because that girl already liked him. So it's like it was just kind of like impressing her and then talking to her at the end of the movie. That was all it was. But I really liked how in a stupid film, like a Goofy movie, with all the slapstick, with all the dumb jokes and everything, and all the dumb premises, they still knew how to be serious, and that's what I think makes for a good film. Knowing when to slow down while also knowing when to entertain. You need to have like some sort of balance. Okay, speaking of serious, knowing when to slow down, having serious themes, Pocahontas. The original tale of Pocahontas is very sad, very tragic. I do not like what happened, but we'll only focus on the film right now. Soundtrack, amazing. Animation, godly. Themes, very interesting. Literally, protecting your land against colonizers and all that. But I guess the whole true love conquers all is very inspiring. It's basically like Romeo and Juliet, right? That's literally what this was before the Lion King 2 happened, because the Lion King 1 was based off of Shakespeare's Hamlet, and the Lion King 2 was based off of Romeo and Juliet. But Pocahontas was already kind of a Romeo and Juliet story. And I think what makes for a good Romeo and Juliet story is that, first of all, you need to have warring factions. You need to have the families have like such serious beef that it's like fatal, right? But having like the whole love conquers all thing is really nice and everything, but maybe making it based off of real people probably wasn't the best choice. It was a very controversial movie at the time, and it's still very controversial to this day. So, at least they knew even then that it was very controversial. Okay, we will not be tackling Toy Story just because it's like I'm going to include that with the Disney Pixar version of this stream. I will be doing that at a later date, but not right now. Maybe we can do Disney Pixar next weekend during like the Android release, or maybe we'll do DreamWorks. I'm not really sure. I don't know. James and the Giant Peach, weird. Had a crush on a couple bug people, but let's not talk about that. It was a weird film. Hunchback of Notre Dame. Okay, Hunchback of Notre Dame was also another one of those controversial Disney Renaissance films where it legit caused issues with society at the time, because so in the original Hunchback of Notre Dame story, there was like a bunch of shit that they changed when they made the Disney version. So there was like this whole weird arc where we find Esmeralda's birth mom by accident or something, and she was like a supporting character, and I'm like, how did you know you were related? I need to know about that. But what I thought was interesting was, like, again, it's one of those films where they weren't afraid to tackle the very real theme of genocide and racism, discrimination, and like just a lot of weird corruption within the church, because originally Judge Frollo, this is why it was controversial, because Judge Frollo was originally a priest, and so having a priest lusting after a gypsy woman, not great. at all. And so they were like, okay, we're gonna change him into a priest. No, we're not gonna change him into a priest. We're gonna change him from a priest to a judge. So he's still in a position of power, but it's less religious. It's less like religiously charged, you know. So and I think it's weird because in a children's film they still included like a weird creepy perv, brave choice, interesting choice. So yeah, and very good soundtrack. I love the soundtrack. It's great. It's amazing. The sequel was such a downgrade in terms of quality. It kind of bummed me out. I'm gonna be honest. It's it was like I don't know. It was just really sad knowing how good the animation and soundtrack and writing was in the original Hunchback of Notre Dame, and then seeing the sequel and it looks like a straight to it's straight to DVDs. Of course, like the quality is gonna be bad, but it just looks like one of those like Disney Channel like cartoons like that are like spin-offs from like the Disney movies, you know? Like it's kind of a bummer. Kind of a bummer. Okay, Aladdin, the King of Thieves, Aladdin, Return of Jafar. Yeah, we're not gonna tackle those. Hercules, another one with great soundtrack and like what I liked about Hercules was how unique the art style was. Because I mean, pretty much all of the Disney films are kind of samey in regards to art styles, but there's like a very distinct art style when it came to the Hercules movie because they were taking inspiration from Greek art, right? Like ancient Greek art, and like like making the elbows and chins all swirly and stuff. Like that was inspired. I really liked it. It went in a really good direction. I thought it was funny when they actually depicted Zeus as a loving and loving father who was very loyal to his wife. Very interesting. Like there were so many creatures that were definitely just love children of Zeus. So that was very funny to me. But yeah, so I think Hercules also was one of those films where it's fun and goofy, but they knew when to be serious for like a minute. They knew when to slow down, and the accompanying songs were really good for it. The voice acting was great. I loved all of it. It's a good movie. It's one of my. It's not my top three, but it is my top five. I think. Yeah, I think my top five fave Disney films definitely so Mulan, The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Hercules. I love those films. Okay. Ooh, okay. Next up is Mulan. I think it's great how many people love Mulan. Like, if you ask, like literally anybody, like who their favorite Disney princess is or Disney movie, a lot of them will say Mulan, and I just really like that. It's very funny, very tragic, banger soundtrack, and it's just like I think it's just well paced. And at first, I thought like someone like Eddie Murphy as Mushu. I thought that would make things really weird and awkward, but no, he like he's like the comedic relief because otherwise it wouldn't be that funny if it was just like those three soldiers. Like what were their names? Yao, Ling, and Po. No, Chen Po. Yeah, Chen Po. And yeah, they're funny and all, but not enough to carry the comedic scenes. And I really appreciate that. Like even Mushu knew when to be serious, so that's good. That's good. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! I see. Okay, next up. Oh God. I mean, should we tackle The Lion King 2? Because it was like one of the better sequels in my opinion. Because I watched all the Disney sequels, and except like The Rescuers Down Under, which I apparently heard is good. The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. It's very funny how they tried to recreate the vibes of the original film. that they were trying to recreate the opening. So you know how like the Circle of Life opened up with like that iconic shot of a sunrise, and so the sequel opened up with like dusk. So it's like dusk till dawn, right? So it's like it's still kind of like twilight, so like the moon is still out, and then it's like a very slow song, and then like the sun is slowly rising, and then we have like Kiara, Simba's daughter, getting introduced to the audience. Very great, very nice, very fun. Um, and then yeah. Oh, fun fact. So Kovu, right, the love interest in the Lion King 2, he was voiced by the same guy who voiced Max Goof from the Goofy movie. Shout out to Jason Marsden. Love you, man. Um, but yeah, so Simba's Pride again was based off of like Romeo and Juliet, because The Lion King was originally Hamlet. So we're going to do another Shakespearean story. I think The Lion King 2, while not as iconic as the first Lion King movie, was serviceable. I think it was good enough. The animation budget was there. It was good enough as a sequel. It wasn't too awful that I hate that it exists. Because I think the Hunchback of Notre Dame sequel I did kind of hate, not gonna lie. It was really ugly and not that fun. But yeah, The Lion King 2 I think is a good sequel. Definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. Lots of people have a crush on the male lion. Very interesting. And so I hope they don't do a live action adaptation of this, but I seriously doubt it. They are not going to tackle any of the sequels because none of them made a lot of money at the box office because they are all direct to DVD. So the whole point is that they didn't make money at the box office. Have you seen all the Tinkerbell movies? Yes. And I'm very upset that the only reason they stopped making those movies is because they realized making the live action movies and the Star Wars movies made them more money. And I was like, the people want the Tinkerbell films. Make more, please. The next one was literally going to be a steampunk fairy academy. And I'm like, bro, that's like a Tinker Fairy's dream, and you took that away from us. Directed DVD films were very interesting. I didn't touch on this before, but when so like the Lady and the Tramp sequel is very interesting. I'm not really sure how to feel about it, but it gives weird lore, and like the one thing that I have like a problem with when it comes to like the Lady and the Tramp sequel, um what was the name? Scamp's Adventure? I don't know, fucking know. Um for some reason, the humans in that movie knew to call Tramp Tramp. Like they knew that that was his name. And I'm like, I thought that was like his street name that the dogs all called him. But for some reason, the humans just know that he's named Tramp. That's his street name. Come on. Um, it's like it's weird because I mean like it's obviously newer, right? So like the quality is supposed to be better, but I really prefer like the old um old animation look to the original Lady and the Tramp, because like the Lady and the Tramp 2 looks way too modern. It kind of freaks me out a little. Same thing with Peter Pan 2, also looks way too modern. Okay. Do we count A Bug's Life? I'm going to skip A Bug's Life just because it's going to be in the Disney Pixar discussion. So not today, not today. Tarzan. Okay, Tarzan has an amazing soundtrack. I love Phil Collins. I loved his work in both Tarzan and also Brother Bear. Both great movies, both amazing soundtracks, both Phil Collins. How many sequels can a romance have? Um, you know, it's like you just have to try really hard to ruin everything. Um, Most of these sequels you're mentioning, my immediate thought is, what did they just bang in this movie? Do they get divorced? Oh, do you mean Lady and the Tramp or do you mean the Lion King? In the Lady and the Tramp, they they at the end of the first Lady and the Tramp movie, they adopt Tramp, and he and Lady have four puppies, the three girls and Scamp, the one boy. And in the sequel, he Scamp apparently gets a girlfriend, which I think is weird because it's like he's like a little kid, you know, like in like in if you had Scamp as a human, I would see him as like grade school to middle school age. So I don't see him as any older than 12. So it's weird to give him a girlfriend. I'm like, I don't want to think about like some toddler falling in love. That's weird. Yeah, I gotta grow up fast on the streets. Oh, you want to know something gross? So Scamp's love interest Angel is like this cute little doggy, right? But this older dog is like claiming that that's his girlfriend, but she's like, I'm not your girlfriend. And I'm like, dude, this is so predatory. It's kind of weird. Like, I know it doesn't matter when it's dogs, but it's really weird when you know how old they're supposed to be, like body wise. Because in the sequel, there is this antagonist dog who's I think he was like a Doberman. His name is Buster, and he's like the leader of this street dog gang. And it was apparently Tramp's old group or something, or I don't know, I don't think he had a group. No, he was friends with Buster when they were younger, and then Tramp got adopted, and so he abandoned his street friend, and so Buster like hated Tramp this whole time. And it's like it's just kind of weird that now Buster's like, hey, you're my ex friend's son. I'm gonna make you like, you know, fuck up his life. I'm gonna ruin both of y'all's. And then I'm just like, you're like Scamp's dad's age, and you're trying to date this girl who is Scamp's age. And I'm like, that's weird, dude. That's weird. It's like a 40-year-old trying to date a 12-year-old, but it's like dogs, so it's really weird to me, and I don't know why they put that in the movie. And they're, I guess the creators were like, well, they're dogs, it doesn't matter. I'm like, that that little girl dog still hasn't gone through puberty yet, I don't think. So yeah, very weird. Anyways, I don't know a movie. No, we shouldn't tackle those. I don't really think that they're relevant in this context. However, I think if you guys want to watch something pretty lighthearted, the directed DVD Winnie the Pooh films are very cute. Um, I went and watched the Heffalump movie last year, and I got like a plushie from someone, and I got a plush like an actual like Disney plushie of like of the Heffalump character, and I'm like, ah, I love it. It's so cute and fuzzy. Anyways, a Heffalump is just like a Winnie the Pooh version of an elephant, but they didn't know what it was called. Okay, Dinosaur. Have you guys seen this movie? It is exactly what I wanted from the live action Lion King, but they didn't have the balls to give it to us. Okay, so if you've seen the movie Dinosaur, fun fact: when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I didn't know how to pronounce dinosaur, so I read it as dinosaur. But anyways, so the movie Dinosaur is is what it sounds like. It's a movie about dinosaurs, and there was like this whole thing with I guess global warming, a meteor shower, I don't know. And basically these dinosaurs, after a series of unfortunate events, they had to abandon their breeding grounds and their nesting grounds, right? Because like the nesting grounds were like this safe like valley where you could just kind of lay eggs in peace and not have to worry about predators. kind of like the Great Valley and the Land Before Time. If you've seen those dinosaur films, it's basically the same principle, just a safe haven for herbivore dinosaurs to have babies in peace without any predators in sight. So, Dinosaur is like this really good like looking movie. I know some animation is kind of dated, like especially like when they have like a meteor shower and like the spark effects, like the fire effects were kind of you could tell it's like all just copy pasted like assets. It looks really cheap, but it was revolutionary at the time. I did not notice it as a kid. And I think Dinosaur is what they should have done when it came to the live action Lion King, because you have talking animal characters that still acted like animals and it not be weird, right? Like they emoted, they had facial expressions, they had like realistic looking models, but they still had, facial expressions that a human could read. So why didn't they do that for the live action Lion King? Like you have this technology, you've done this before, you know it works. But I guess they just don't care. And they just had like a very confused amalgamation of what Jean Favreau wanted, which was realistic National Geographic documentary style animation and body language with the animals. And then you have the higher ups that probably wanted to draw in the audience by having the characters talk and sing songs and have like the entire cast be like star-studded like full of celebrities. And I'm like, you guys should have just picked one. Either have them emote and talk, or have them not emote and just focus on body language, just like in Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron or the live action 101 Dalmatians. Like you can't have both because now it just looks stupid. Because if they're talking and they're not having facial expressions, they just look really weird, and I don't like that. I don't like that. Movie makers think they'll be taken more seriously by peers and awards, but yeah, that's pretty much what they think, and that's why like CGI is all the rage nowadays. And they're like, we don't want to make 2D animation. It takes too long, and I don't think anyone likes that anymore. I'm like, people like 2D animation. You just don't have the balls, Disney. You don't have the balls to make the movies. Also, like all the CGI that Disney does, it has like this. It's like same face syndrome now. It's kind of annoying to look at. I don't want to see a movie and just be like, "Wow, this looks like pretty much every other movie that you made in the past 10 years." Wow. Okay. The Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea. I don't really know how I feel about this movie. If you've seen like the Little Mermaid sequel, it's passable. It's not really one of my favorites. As I mentioned earlier, I don't like the main villain because Morgana is like Ursula's more insecure, crazier younger sister, and she just isn't that fun to watch. She's kind of annoying and weird and creepy. At least Ursula was fun and charismatic. This lady was weird. And Melody, the not the Nexan, but like Melody, the main character, who is Ariel's daughter. She's kind of she's kind of a brat, but I mean, it's a 12-year-old. Like, what are you gonna do? Not really sure how I feel about the film, but it's okay. It's not the worst. It's okay. I do like Ghibli's, even though they can have recurrent. Yeah, yeah, like same face syndrome and like an art style. It's like okay. So I think what I think is annoying about Disney's like same face syndrome thing with like their newer movies is that there's no excuse because they're all CGI. You can make them look as weird as you want, or like at least change them up to look slightly different, but they all have the same face now. Yeah, exactly. No, no. I see. I'll kill you. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Now here's a good one. The Emperor's New Groove. Okay, the behind the scenes of this was also kind of crazy because again, it's one of those things where if you come across a weird animated film, some stuff happened behind the scenes. Like you just know some weird stuff happened. And the Emperor's New Groove is no different. Originally, it was going to be called Kingdom of the Sun, and it was gonna be about how Yzma wanted to do something and block out the sun for some evil reason. I don't really know, but the song was nice. She had a song, and I'm glad that they went with the new concept, because like while the old concept was interesting, I much prefer the current like the Emperor's New Groove's like actual story. It's very fun. Again, it's like it's one of those things where if you have to have a fun film, make sure you know when to slow down. And even in a movie as funny and as fun as Emperor's New Groove, they do have scenes where, like for example, like Yzma's having this whole monologue and she's like scolding Kronk, and it's not funny at all. It's really sad. And then you have like Pacha and Cusco having a fight as well. There's like all sorts of things, and it's like you need to know when to slow down, and that's what makes a well balanced film. Especially if it's like animated films, like children's content doesn't have to be all like slapstick, doesn't have to all be like freaking ADHD bait type content where you need to jingle some keys in front of some kids faces. Like you can have like the slow scenes. Don't be afraid to have like serious scenes in your movies. Okay, Atlantis, the Lost Empire. I love the fuck out of this cast. Holy shit. This was such an entertaining ensemble. Like there aren't many like Disney movies with like casts like this. Like the fact that half of them were bad guys was really interesting. You just had like this little nerd twink that just wanted to look for something that his grandfather was passionate about. He just wanted to continue his studies, and like he had belief that the stuff that his grandfather was telling him about all his life weren't just bullshit. He wanted to go on this expedition, but he wasn't taken seriously because it's crazy. So it's like having such an interesting cast was like a really good choice for this film, because it's like even the ones you think are going to be like serious characters, they have like dumb lines. They have like stupid, funny like lines of dialogue every now and then. And even though it's not technically like a Disney princess film, because like Kida, like the princess in the movie, she's not exactly seen as a Disney princess. She's technically under Disney, and she's technically a princess, but it doesn't count because box office stuff. And I don't know. I just really like how the villains were just so vile. It's like, oh, they're double crossing, and they're literally murdering an old dude, and they're trying to murder this princess, and they're doing all sorts of things, and it's like a whole civil war, and it's like, oh, that's nice. And it's just so fucking good. I think Atlantis is one of those movies where they did a really good job blending the 2D elements with the CGI, because there was a lot of CGI in this film. It was really good. Um, if you guys have ever heard of DreamWorks's El Dorado, I think that was the first movie where they developed this technology for water physics. And so I think Atlantis used the same thing, because I believe they also for like El Dorado, for like that technology. I think they also did that for Sinbad. If you guys have seen that movie, not the live action, the animated DreamWorks one. Spirited Away. I don't know if I want to count that. That's more of a Ghibli film that just got like a dub. I will say this though, I like the Disney English dubs for the Studio Ghibli films. Also, I'm still not really sure if it's Ghibli or Ghibli. I used to pronounce it Ghibli, and then someone told me it's Ghibli, and I'm like, okay. So yeah. Okay, Monsters Incorporated again is Disney Pixar, so I will talk about that during the Disney Pixar version of this type of stream in the future. Cinderella 2 spin-off. Return to Neverland. Direct to DVD. All of these are direct to DVD. Lilo and Stitch. Okay, Lilo and Stitch. Really good fucking movie. And Lilo and Stitch 2 made me cry because spoiler, but it's an old film so I can spoil it. Lilo and Stitch 2. Stitch legit is dying. And it's very sad and Lilo is crying and that made me cry. It was very tragic. But Lilo and Stitch was it was very funny when this person on Tumblr made a whole ass dedicated post talking about how Lilo was definitely autistic coded. And I mean, when you watch the movie again, thinking about that headcanon, you're like, oh, you know what? Actually, she kind of does seem very autistic. Like, not necessarily in a bad way. It's just like she does have a lot of neurodivergent traits. And considering like the childhood trauma she has of like her parents dying in a car crash, and that led her to feeding a single fish peanut butter sandwiches every Thursday for like years. I don't know. That's very interesting to me. Like that is some like OCD levels of paranoia. Okay, next up, Treasure Planet. Holy shit! Underrated film. Made me cry during the scene where his dad literally like goes off to buy milk. That scene was so sad. I mean, I have my father, but like that always makes me sad. Like I'm like, ah man, distant dads, runaway dads, bum dads. Very sad, very tragic. He's fatherless. That's why he acts out. Like they literally talked about it in the intro of the movie, where like the mom was telling the cops to like just let him off with a warning because he's a delinquent because his father left when he was a young child, and then that's when his grades started slipping. He started acting out in school. Very sad. Childhood divorce. Very sad. But yeah, if you guys haven't watched Treasure Planet or haven't seen it in a couple of years, I suggest you watch it again. It's so fucking good. But apparently, the Muppets Treasure Island is the best is apparently according to the internet is the best version of or adaptation of Treasure Island. So I think that's very funny. Because like Treasure Planet is Treasure Island in space, which is very cool. But this must have been a very expensive movie just with how much CGI there was in this film. Oh, and also Disney definitely tried to tank Treasure Planet. Like the corporate higher ups definitely tried to sabotage this movie. They really did not want this movie to succeed. Very sad. That's why it's so good, but so underrated. It did poorly in the box office for a reason. They were sabotaging this movie because they wanted to prioritize a different film that year. Okay. Jungle Book 2, I talked about it, but I don't really want to care. I don't really care enough to talk about it. Brother Bear. Brother Bear is amazing. It is so fucking good when they get to the part near the end where it's like the brother realizes that he's been hunting down his brother this whole time who turned into a bear, and it was just really sad. He was just kind of like, oh my god, like I lost both. Like I feel so bad for Denahi. So Denahi was like the middle child who who thought that both of his brothers died. Like the first brother got by this bear, or like it wasn't because he got by a bear, but like there was like a whole incident with an iceberg or something, and like or like a glacier, and Sitka was like his name, the eldest brother. He dies, and then that's all sad and all. And then Kenai, the youngest and also the main character, he tries to go after the bear, and he is presumably dead because Denahi goes there and he's like, "Where's my brother? Where'd he go?" And then he just sees a bear. But what happened was Kenai killed the mama bear, and for some reason he gets turned into a bear as a punishment. And so Denahi is over here thinking that this bear killed both his brothers, and he's been hunting it down like it's his own Moby Dick, and he's like Captain Ahab. It's very sad, very tragic, and there's like like really good themes about brotherly love and chosen family and all that. And I think it's so freaking beautiful. Phil Collins did great on the soundtrack. It was just really interesting. I just really liked it. Okay. Do you guys know about The Lion King One and One Half? It's this like pseudo sequel that isn't really a sequel, but the premise is literally The Lion King, but from the point of view of Timon and Pumbaa. And it's supposed to be like really really meta because like they're watching it from like from a movie theater, and they pause the movie and they talk about it and they play it, and it's so weird. Such a strange concept, but I think it's a really fun sequel or like a spin-off sequel or something. If you guys haven't seen The Lion King One and One Half, I think you guys should check that out as well. It's really interesting. Even if you don't end up liking it, I just think it's like such a weird thing that you should probably witness at least once, you know? Home on the Range. I saw it on the Disney Channel. I don't know if it was like direct to DVD, but I think I also saw it in a DVD. It's okay. There's some scenes where I thought were really sad, but the rest of the film I kind of felt like meh about it. It's a very mediocre film. I don't like it that much. The Incredibles again, Disney Pixar. Kronk's New Groove is again another one of those interesting takes on a sequel, like a direct to DVD like Disney sequel, because Kronk's New Groove is literally we're following Kronk and his little adventures post the initial movie. So while we see some recurring characters like Pacha and Yzma, we mostly just follow Kronk and we see like what he's been up to. And I don't know if they were trying to do like a spin-off TV series with this and then they just compiled it to be like one movie, or if they meant for this to be like a movie already. I'm assuming the second part, the latter, because it's too high quality to be like a weird Disney Channel spin-off series, I think. Chicken Little, I don't know if I should. Okay, I don't know what to call this, but Chicken Little, The Wild, Cars, Meet the Robinsons. These films were created when the Florida branch of Disney, the Disney Animation Studios, was closing. So they were basically saying like, "Hey, listen, you guys are gonna lose your jobs soon. So we suggest you finish up your projects or make whatever movies you still can, like before we get rid of you guys." And so they made a bunch of weird movies. And when that branch finally dissolved, those same animators moved on to DreamWorks and worked on stuff like Shrek. Like all the weird movies that they couldn't make with Disney, they decided to make like with DreamWorks. So yeah, good for them. Good for them. And The Wild. That is not a great movie. It was like Madagascar, but shitty. I don't like The Wild. It's dumb. Um, you know what? I do kind of find it funny how DreamWorks was made to spite Disney. And to this day, it's like they're still kind of spiting Disney. Like they made that one movie like Ruby Gilman, and it was like they're like, oh, a red-headed, blue-eyed mermaid who's evil. I wonder what this could be referring to. And the fact that they made Shrek is also just kind of a slap in the face to Disney. They're like, screw your stupid like storybook fantasy fairy tales. They're all sucky. I hate all of them. They're all poor quality content. So yeah, I like the rivalry, and every now and then there will be like movies that are a little too similar that you can't help but assume that there's a mole or some sort of leak, and then they started like working on it competitively. Like for example, there was like the very first DreamWorks film was Ants with a Z, and that was made what like around the same time Disney was making A Bug's Life. So some people can only assume that the person who created DreamWorks, or like whoever was behind Ants, already knew about A Bug's Life being produced, and then they were just like, yeah, let's make an ant movie, but like make it good. I think both are good in their own different ways. And I think stuff like the whole corporate espionage within like animation studios is really funny to me, because that's probably what led to having three different Pinocchio films made in the same year or being released in the same year. It's just like that's too much of a coincidence. They definitely heard something from Disney and they wanted to like beat them to the punch. That's very weird, very underhanded, but I kind of like the competitive the competitiveness. It's so funny. Okay. Um, Brother Bear 2, I don't really want to talk about that. Meet the Robinsons is such a good film. It's so dumb. And again, has those serious scenes when it really counts. It's like when they're not afraid to have a serious scene in a dumb kids film that was like mostly slapstick and like comedic relief the whole time. I think that's really good. It's a good balance. It's nice. It keeps the viewer on their toes. Hi, No Face. Hello, hello. Okay. Ratatouille. Again, Disney Pixar. So we're not gonna talk about it today. Enchanted. I don't really know how to classify Enchanted because only part of it was animated. The rest of it was hello, hi Alex. Yeah, it's like the rest of it was live action, so I don't really know how to consider Enchanted. Wally, again, this Disney Pixar. G-Force, Jesus, I haven't heard that in a while. Bolt was both Disney Pixar. I'm just gonna put it under that umbrella, so I'm not gonna talk about that. Up is also Disney Pixar. A Christmas Carol, I think also. Okay, this is the last 2D animated film by Disney. The Princess and the Frog, which I think is such a good film, well animated, beautifully written, has a nice balance between serious topics and funny, stupid scenes, and great chemistry between the main couple, enemies to lovers in a span of 3 days, rather than like just falling in love at first sight. I kind of like that. And also, the soundtrack's just really fucking good. If you haven't seen Princess and the Frog, that's another movie that I recommend. It's really good. And I'm really sad that it's like the last 2D animated Disney film. Like even their 100-year anniversary movie Wish was like it's like a combination of both, but not really. It's mostly CGI that they tried to make look like 2D, but not well. You know who did do that well? Um what are they called? Klaus. There is this movie called Klaus, and it's like a really good animated film about like the origins of Santa Claus, except it's like really like interestingly animated. It's how do I put it? It's like they like the behind the scenes is very interesting because it's 3D, so it's CGI models, but with some shenanigans with their shading and like their layers and filters and stuff like that and special effects. They make it look like it's 2D, which is really cool. Oh wait, no, or was it the opposite, where it was like 2D to look like 3D? Yeah, I think that was it. I think it was 2D made to look like 3D. And something like Arcane was the opposite, where it was like 3D made to look like 2D. I think Paperman was also the same way, where it was like 3D made to look like 2D. But I think Klaus was 2D made to look like 3D. So very good movie. I think you should check it out. Tangled, the very first CGI Disney princess movie. Real good story, well written songs. I love the animation. Holy shit, it looks so good. It still holds up. And And I think it's a really good film, and I'm kind of sad that after that film, Disney just got way too invested in making all their Disney princess films into like CGI. I miss the 2D. Also, thank you for the pen light. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Mm, Brave is Disney Pixar, so we're not going to talk about that. Wreck It Ralph. I don't know if Disney Pixar. Maybe we could just like, I don't know. Is it Disney Pixar or just Disney? I think it's Disney Pixar. But just to summarize, Wreck It Ralph is a really good movie. I appreciated that they had like such ugly scenes in certain parts, like when he destroyed like Vanellope's like race car. That was so fucked up. But I don't like what happened in the sequel to Wreck It Ralph, where like Ralph Breaks the Internet was such a weird story because like it was blatant character assassination. And I think it's weird that at the end of the movie, Vanellope abandons her game to play with like this other racing game, and there's just like no consequences because like wasn't that the whole problem with the first movie, that Ralph abandoned his video game to go into other people's games? Like it fucked up a lot of things, and for some reason Vanellope can just casually like do that and it's like not an issue. And like I feel like it should be a bigger issue and she shouldn't be allowed to do that. I don't know, it's just very inconsistent. um Fox and the Hound 2, Monsters University. Monsters University, really interesting take on a sequel. Again, it's one of those for a sequel, let's have a prequel. Zangief should have been the main character. I agree. They should have had him more. Like, oh man, I wish Zangief was on screen more often. Monsters University was interesting because originally they were going to have Boo as an adult, and we were going to follow like a story where her daughter is the one living in her childhood bedroom now. So Sully is like hanging out with her daughter or something. It was either that or Boo just happened to be slightly older, like older than 5 years old, you know. So I don't know. I think switching that out, and I think it's because of like the leaks, because there was like a leak, and after that leak, that's when like they changed the plot to Monsters University, which is very interesting. But I it's a good sequel. I just don't like it that much. It's just one of those things where I watch once or twice and then never again. You know, it's I think it's fine to have movies like that. Hi Nan, wait. Oh, hi. Hello, welcome. How are you? Anyways, in regards to Monsters University, yeah, it's like a one-time thing for me. There's a lot of sequels that I think are one-time watches. I don't really want to consume them repeatedly. Okay, next up is Big Hero 6. Big Hero 6, um, I just don't like twist villains like that. I kind of liked it, but did they really need to have a whole twist villain where it starts out with like, it's definitely this guy, except it's not? And I don't know how to feel about that. I think it was a good movie. I watched it a bunch. But I don't know how I feel about like the whole sequel thing where Tadashi is he becomes a super powered villain or something. I'm like, why would he be a villain? I think he can just be dead. I don't know, or just have superpowers. He doesn't need to be a villain. What would he be like angry about? You know? Hi, welcome back. Welcome to the basement. Hello, hello. Okay. Next up, do we count Inside Out? It's Disney Pixar, so probably I'm just gonna skip it. I just finished like Big Hero 6. We're gonna skip Inside Out. Oh man, I don't even want to talk about The Good Dinosaur. The Good Dinosaur is garbage, hot garbage. I kind of despise it a little bit. So no, you're not gonna be talking about The Good Dinosaur. Zootopia, okay. Zootopia. somehow was able to Disneyfy racism and police brutality and discrimination. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I kind of like it. It's just like such a good story. I just really like it. Okay. Let me see. What's next? Finding Dory. That again is Disney Pixar, so let's not talk about it. Incredibles 2, Disney Pixar. Moana, that's Disney. Okay. So Moana is again one of those Moana is like a new breed of Disney princess where she's made to be so young that people shouldn't complain if they don't give her a love interest because they're like, why do you want like a 15-year-old to fall in love so bad? Why can't you just let her be a kid for once, you know? And it's the same thing with Merida from Brave. They made her so young so that she like doesn't necessarily have to be in a romantic relationship on screen. And I'm like, why are you allergic to romance now? Is it like I get that like this whole thing with millennials being like, hey, actually, I don't like how in Disney princess movies they normalize heteronormative relationships, and I don't like feeling pressure that I have to find a partner. You know, why can't I just be by myself? Why can't I just be like a protagonist? And I guess that's fine because I mean, for example, Frodo Baggins didn't have a girlfriend during Lord of the Rings, you know, except Samwise. So it's like you can have a protagonist go through the hero story, or yeah, like the without actually falling in love, you know, like because that's something that a lot of Disney princesses went through. It's like they can't go through like their hero's journey without having a romantic interest. But like a male character, male protagonist doesn't necessarily need a female counterpart. Like they can just like vibe, they can just like do their thing. Moana was here's a fun fact about Moana. So when it was first announced, it was like not long after Frozen came out. Moana was supposed to have a more 2D looking animation style, and they kind of changed their minds and they were like, okay, let's just make it hyper realistic water. I don't want to make it stylistic. I have a theory that they use that same art style, that animation style that they were supposed to use on Moana. I think they used it on the TV series, like Tangled the series, because when you watch like Tangled, it's like it's a very distinct like 2D-esque flash animation type of thing. And I like to assume that that was what they were going for the original concept of Moana, but then changed their minds when they wanted to make hyper realistic water. So yeah. And okay, Cars 3, Cinderella 3. It's weird that there's four Toy Story movies. I feel like the fourth one was I already felt like Toy Story 3 was unnecessary. I feel like Toy Story 4 really didn't have to happen, and if they're really going to go through with a Toy Story 5, I hate it. I don't want any of that. No. Okay. So, um in regards to the sequels, Cinderella 3 A Twist in Time is actually pretty fucking good. They actually gave the Prince Charming, they actually gave him a personality. You know, I like that where it's like a sequel should support, it should give world building, it should develop characters and their relationships better. And I think the third installation of the Cinderella franchise, I think, is the best one to do that, because all the other Disney sequels didn't really do that as much. And you know who does that really well? DreamWorks. For some reason, every single DreamWorks sequel is just like really fucking good, so much better than the original. Like that's how I felt about Shrek 2. That's how I felt about Kung Fu Panda 2. And that's how I felt about How to Train Your Dragon 2. I just felt like those just happened to be better than the original. Although I think like How to Train Your Dragon 2, it's like I kind of prefer the original, but there's a lot of world building with the sequel, so I like that. Okay. And yeah, with Wish, right? Bad animation, bad story, bad songs, bad plot line, bad villains. All of it's just so bad. And I think it's really interesting when something in media is so shitty that the rest of the internet has taken it upon themselves to make new content just to fix whatever the fuck Disney put out. And I really like that. It's like I like how this happened. Like it's sad that we don't have the movie that we wanted. But it's really cool seeing how creative everyone's being just because of our collective hatred of Wish. So yeah, um I think it's crazy that in like on two separate occasions Disney has somehow made the seven dwarves woke. Like they added women, they added different ethnicities, and I'm like, how did you manage to do that twice? Like first with like the live action version with like the Latina Snow White, and then with Wish where they had like her friends be the interpretation of like the seven dwarves, and I'm like, if I had a nickel for every time Disney turned the seven dwarves woke, I'd have two nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it happened twice. So yeah, um it's just it's one of those things where Disney has the capabilities, but they've lost sight of their original goals. They lost sight of what made them so great back in the day. Like people want to hear stories that want to be told. They don't want to see stuff that's just like clearly supposed to like fill out a quota or send a message politically. It's like you can have political films, but when it's like done wrong, it's so weird. I don't like it. Are we talking about Mulan? No, we're talking about Wish. I'm done with Mulan. Best. It's like it's arguably like the best Disney princess film. My personal all-time favorite movie. Or like Disney movie, anyways. It's really good. But yeah, Wish is kind of garbage, and I stand for it. I think everybody agrees, and yeah, that's how I feel. So yeah, and Wish is garbage, and I think it's how sad it is. Like I know you joked about I know you joked about this, icy, but me being like a Disney adult, right? I'm just like, okay, I I love Disney, but I mainly love like animated films. So if I'm passionate about Disney, it's not because it's Disney, it's because it's like drawings, Um So when I saw Wish and it had nothing to do with what they used to stand for, like there's no romance, there's no like proper villain. Like I mean, they tried to make the villain like a bad, like they tried to make him evil, but it just seemed so weird. Like he was like it was like a complete 180. I feel like him just randomly turning evil was just like it wasn't that he was evil. I think he was just fed up because like all the citizens in that kingdom were like little shits, man. They were entitled brats. And I feel like the king had every right to be kind of mean to them later on. So horrible message. They're like, "Hey, do you think your life should be much easier? And why don't you try being entitled and complain that the person that already like makes life easy for you can't make it somehow easier?" I'm like, bro, weird. Not me, but someone else on Twitch. Yeah, no, wait, oh wait, I think it was yeah, who the fuck said that? Somebody said somebody said it to me. I don't remember. But yeah, very very sad, very tragic. I think even like the freaking older like Barbie classics, like from Nutcracker to Mermaidia or whatever the fuck. I don't know when like the last Barbie classic movie was. But basically it's like, oh, I see you moved platforms. Encanto! Wait, yeah, we totally did not talk about Encanto. You know what's so funny? As soon as I heard the music, I was already like, this sounds very similar to Lin Manuel Miranda's music. And then I found out that he was behind the music, and I was like, oh, okay, that's why. um, Encanto made me cry like a bitch, bro. I was so fucking sad when I saw Encanto. Um, just a lot of like family, generational trauma and toxic families. It just hit so close to home, and I was like, oh no, they want to understand each other, but they can't, and it's just so fucking hard. Also, thank you so much. I see, but yeah, it's like I think Encanto is a really good story. They had like an ensemble, and I think it's really nice that they were somehow able to just kind of have enough development for the characters that you're not just gonna ignore a character. Like you know that they're there, like the aunties, the cousins. Like you know that they're there. They have their own struggles. Everyone in that family is just really traumatized. They all have their problems. Even like the husbands have like their own issues, but like they're very supportive to the wives. I didn't feel like there was a villain. Oh, like Encanto wasn't supposed to have a villain. The grandmother, Abuela Alma was an antagonist, but she wasn't a villain. The only villain was the conquistadors. No one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition, Like the conquistadors were the true villains of that film. But for the most part, we can't really say Bruno was a villain. We can't really say that like Abuela was a villain either. Because like I feel like Abuela was just she's just a victim of like trauma, and she's trying so hard to keep her family safe that she just fucked it up for everybody. So it's like it's understandable, not excusable, but understandable. And I kind of like that where it's like we don't need a villain for every Disney film, but if you're gonna add a villain, make them fun, make them memorable, make them charismatic. That's why we like the old villains. They were like all freaking like drama queens, which made it so fun for everybody. But the twist villains are boring nowadays. Like they're so lame. I kind of want to bully them. Mm-hmm. And so yeah. Oh my God, we didn't talk about Frozen. Frozen and Frozen Two both had similar problems in that during the production, they didn't know what the fuck was going to happen in the plot. So originally, like you guys know this already, but like originally in the first Frozen film, Elsa was supposed to be the villain because it's based off of the story by Christian Andersen or whatever his name was, the same guy who wrote The Little Mermaid. He he was the one. So he wrote the Snow Queen, and the Snow Queen is an evil lady trying to freeze people's hearts. Some shit about shards and whatnot. I don't know. It was kind of weird, very European, and at some point when they came out with the demo version of Let It Go, they loved it so much that they changed the story to be like, oh, what if she's not evil and this is just like her way of expressing herself? Whoa. And I'm like, you changed the entire plot for a song? It's a good song until it got like, old, but like I just think that's weird, and I kind of want to see like the original script. They don't need to remake it. I just hope that they leak the script at some point. I need to see what the original plot for Frozen was gonna be. And in Frozen 2, a similar problem. They didn't know what the problem was going to be until later on. 2 months before the movie was supposed to be released. They still didn't know what that voice was supposed to be in Frozen 2. Like, the one that goes like, ah, that one. They didn't know who the fuck that was supposed to be. And so that's why, like, when the reveal happened, I was like, okay, that's kind of confusing. That's kind of dumb. I don't like it. I want evil mommy villain Elsa. Yeah, please. I want her to murder Hans. They need to. It's just good for lore. It's good for backstory. We need to murder that guy. or at least threaten. There were times where she almost killed some guy, so again, it's like I don't need to see the movie being remade because it's already too late for that. But I just want to see the script. I want to see what it was originally going to be like. I can fill in the blanks. I'll just pretend it's a book or like a visual novel, you know? So yeah, Elsa would have been great as a villain, I think. The sequel was weird because I thought like as an ending that was very strange. So I'm like, okay, we're supposed to just be okay with Elsa abandoning her kingdom, abandoning her post. And it's great that like Anna and Kristoff got married and now they can be the king and queen of Arendelle. But I just think that's a really weird way to go about it. Like Elsa still could have just been like queen, but they were like, no, Elsa's dealing with social anxiety. So she can't socialize. She's gotta go live in the woods. Very weird, very strange. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that all? Are those all the movies? Did we finish it, chat? Did we get it? Did we get them all? I think I got them all. So my closing thoughts about old Disney versus new Disney. I think they're trying way too hard. The forced diversity is killing their content because it's like, you know what I wasn't doing when I was watching Aladdin or The Princess and the Frog or The Lion King or Mulan. You know what I didn't care about? Their ethnicities. You know what I didn't care about when watching a Disney princess movie? I didn't care about the fact that she was a girl. There was like all this good content, and they just knew how to give diversity without like actually meaning to. They're like, oh, I want to share this story about a girl in Hawaii. I want to share this story about this girl from China. I want to share this New Orleans story. I want to share this like this and this. And I just feel like Disney, now that they're actually trying to be ethnically diverse, or I don't know, it makes the content really fucking bad because they care more about, brownie points for being like, hey, look, I made a black character. Isn't that cool of me? Don't you want to buy my film, fellow black Americans? Um, and then it's just a bad movie. It's just a bad story, and I think the fans deserve better because like right now, like the actress from like the Acolyte, she's literally shaming people for not liking the Acolyte. She's like over here being like, oh, like you guys are just racist. That's why you don't like the movie. It's not because it had anything to do with writing. You're just racist because I'm black and a lesbian. I don't know. It's weird. Like, why are you doing that? It, Thank you for I like to think that in terms of being a Disney princess, I am a lot more like Vanellope, where it's like, yeah, technically I'm crown princess, but I'm also a nerd. I'm also a huge gamer, a gamer girl nerd. Yep. um, Next is the animation. You know what? I do hope someday that we could have like some sort of like animated music video or like an intro or something, just something fun. Curious on your thoughts on Disney and Lucasfilms, including Star Wars. I think you can tell when they're pandering. And that's why Rogue One was good. That's why, what was it called? The Mandalorian or Andor were good because they didn't focus on like writing off the backs off of like already established beloved fan favorite characters. They just made new stories and then they just had like the backdrop of Star Wars. And that's why those are, like very much beloved films from the fans. Like they're not going to like Rey and her weird force lightning. It's like that's weird. You're making her OP and strange. So I really appreciate the other films and like series just for being chill with it. They're like, listen, we made a completely new story with no cameos from older characters, so we'll just we'll just do this, and hopefully it'll turn out well. And I did like them. I loved Rogue One. And for the actress of the acolyte to be like, you guys are just racist or sexist. You hate seeing a colored woman in front of you and thriving in the Star Wars film. And I'm just like, girl. Yeah, very bad. I've only seen the first few episodes of each streaming service. Star Wars. I couldn't say interested except Mandalorian season one. Yeah. I remember binging like so much Star Wars, especially Clone Wars. But the Bad Batch, very good. I think I should check out the rest of that. I think I've only seen season one or season two. I cannot tell. So yeah, I'm I do want to consume all the Disney Star Wars content just to say that I consumed them, like the TV shows and the movies. I think I finished up the movies, but I haven't done the TV shows. Like I think I only watched like three TV shows. But yeah, very sad. I ended my Disney Plus before Echo, as you should. It sucks. It's not worth it. It's boring. It's woke. It's kind of a lot, and not in a good way. Consume, yeah. So yeah, very sad. Uh, okay. I am. I don't know, man. It's just listen. I like Star Wars. So when you have a main character played by an actress who hates the fans, it's kind of hard to watch. It's the same reason why people didn't like Captain Marvel. She like people were like, "Oh, you just hate her because she's a woman," and I'm like, "No, she's just it's just a badly written character." So I think the same thing of Ray, but yeah, like the acolyte also bad, but yeah, I don't know. Just because you're a woman, just because you're a person of color, just because you're disabled, just because you're like gay or whatever, um, telling people like, oh, you don't like my movie because you hate women, like that. Now that's kind of like sexist. You're like assuming because you already kind of have like a weird understanding of what the social landscape is right now, right? So it's very bad, very bad. Your live reaction to Acolyte would be hilarious. I'm gonna bitch the whole time, dude. Like I'm going to complain. Captain Marvel in the comics, because the art is hot. But yeah, it's like, oh, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but again, it's like as a woman, I pay attention to these things, but like I've noticed that a lot of the woke female protagonists are literally just a dude, and then they just casted a woman. Because it's like, what are these like misandristic characters have in common? Like what do they have in common? A lot of the time, they have scenes where they're cool and badass, and they're so badass that they're like a woman that happens to beat all the men in front of her. It's like because these dudes train all the time and they're very strong, but they're no match for this one female woman. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of pandering. It's kind of compensating a little bit because if you were like really secure in your female protagonist, you wouldn't have to keep proving that she's like a strong woman by having her beat up dudes. Like there's so many female characters that beat up dudes without making that like their full like their whole identity. So very unfortunate, very sad. Ugh. Um, again, forced diversity. Okay. Gayness because in Star Wars: The Acolyte they added lesbian space witches and somehow made it boring. Queer baiting in Disney films and like patting yourself on the back for including like one shot of like two lesbians kissing. I feel like it's not enough. Who could have been gay? Finn and Poe. They could have been gay together, but you didn't have the balls, Disney. You didn't have the balls. So yeah, having a scene where it's like two characters being gay and it's like literally just like a couple seconds on screen. The reason they do that is so that like if they need to market this film to China, they can just easily crop that out. Like they don't actually care about representation. They just care about like making international bank, you know? That's all it is. Very sad, but it's the truth. So yeah. Um okay, I should probably wrap up soon because I am passing out. I really do like just fall asleep if I talk too much. Like you guys think I can't stop yapping. I can't stop yapping in my head, bro. All those Disney Marvel films and shows always showing gay characters. Yeah, I think when they have to show like those types of characters, it's like they need to make them actual characters and not just like, oh, you're a woman, or like, oh, you're a dark skinned woman, oh, you're like gay. You know, it's like make it an actual person. Also, thank you so much, Icy. I just got out of my femboy clothes and went in my stupid regular clothes. Sag. Pancake, welcome, welcome. How are you? Yeah, I'm gonna nap after this definitely. I completely missed my Nexus meeting the other day because I ended stream and I was like, okay, I got a meeting soon, and then I passed out and I overslept. I should have set an alarm. I was such a fool. But yeah, hopefully when the Android version comes out, I'll be playing around with different time zones because it'll be like nighttime for me when it's like daytime for you guys. So it's like I'll be like, so like for you it'll be a morning stream, but for me it'll be like a late night stream, and I can drink as much as I want, and I could like, you know, be like as unhinged and energetic and lively as I want, because yeah, like it's time to gatekeep harder. No, Melberry fan, welcome, welcome. How are you? Yeah, thank you. um Anyways, so to summarize, I probably won't be doing a stream tomorrow just so I could rest because I'm kind of tired from like having back to back streams like 4 days in a row. So I'll probably rest up tomorrow. I will be working on my schedule for next weekend, but I kind of can't confirm anything at the moment since we're doing a whole thing with scheduled streams, and I have to wait till they tell me when I should be doing my stream. So I don't want to like just schedule things like right away because I have to wait till the staff tell me what time I'm supposed to be streaming because they're going to assign me a time slot. So yeah, just look out for that. But I'm probably not going to be streaming tomorrow. Definitely not. I don't know if I'm going to do gorilla streams next, but yeah, we'll see. I do have, okay, so don't forget to follow my Twitter. I have a link tree in my bio now, so you could just easily find my marshmallow on there. I also have a coffee, a Ko-fi, if ever I open commissions. There's also like stream elements on there if you want to give me tips. I don't know if that's where I could receive money. Or I don't know if it works or not. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know what's gonna happen with the throne situation because like the staff are still trying to figure out how to get that to work. We're still trying to learn because yeah, like throne does not ship to Southeast Asia, so we're not really sure what's gonna happen there. Um, what else? What else? Oh yeah. So I'm going to have my suitor's application stream proper. I'm going to properly have it now. It's going to be next weekend probably, and I will be going through like my marshmallows and like seeing what you guys have to say about, you know, like what makes you think you could date me, you know, like what why should I consider you, right? um and so you guys have time to send in applications. It's literally just like, how, like, why should I consider you, try to convince me to date you, right? And then you could send it to my marshmallow. Again, it's a link in my bio. Just click on the link tree link, and then like the marshmallow should be there, so you don't have to keep looking for it on the website or on my profile. And yeah, that's all I could think of right now. I am working on more ASMRs this time. I'm gonna be making joke ASMRs now that I've already established I'm gonna be making less serious ones and more like shit posty ones. So keep an eye out for those. Yeah, like there's like a lot of uncertainty for next week's schedule because I still have to like wait. ASMRs are good. Thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, I will be making like memes and shit posts for the next couple of ASMR videos. So I was thinking like maybe I should like just work on like one like proper ASMR video like once a week or something if I can. But if I want to like sprinkle in some like jokey ASMRs like throughout the week, I could do that. And oh, also I'm going to start posting more art, but I will be doing it on an Instagram account that I made recently. Again, also in my Linktree link in my bio. I'm gonna be posting more art of myself on there because I don't like how Twitter works, where it's just so messy. I don't like it. I'd prefer all my art in one place, you know. So yeah, um, thank you guys so much for coming to my stream. I had a lot of fun. I'm very tired, but so I'm going to pass out soon. I hope this was informative, and I hope you didn't mind my little rants. I'm just really passionate about animation. I'm really passionate about this topic, and it's just all things like animated films. I love them so much. So like next time I do something like this, it'll probably be Disney Pixar, and then one after that will probably be DreamWorks. So yeah, um, I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. And I hope to see you guys on my next stream. I don't know when that is yet. But until then, take care. But yeah, I think so too. Maybe in the future I'll do like rant videos. But yeah, but for now I just want to like talk at you guys for like 2 hours. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. My phone is dying. I'm passing out, and I will be I'll be lucky. Okay, don't forget our sloppy kiss. Okay, here's a sloppy kiss for the meme, and here's a sloppy, and here's like a normal kiss because I love you guys. Mwah. Okay, bye.